what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Keme. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
A very good morning to you and welcome to the news updates on SOUQ News Television. I am Omevi Idolo. The federal government has removed the 5% excess duty on telecommunication services, including voice calls and data, to reduce cost pressure on Nigerians. The directive, issued by President Bola Tinubu during discussions on the Finance Act, was confirmed by the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Aminu Maida. The move is expected to benefit over 171 million active telecom users, many of whom faced a 50% tariff hike earlier this year. The duty, introduced in 2022 under former President Muhammadu Buhari, was widely criticized as burdensome for consumers and counterproductive for the industry. Its removal aligns with Tinubu's broad plan to cut multiple taxes, foster digital inclusion, and attract investment in the telecom sector. Analysts say the policy shift will provide relief to households and businesses, making communication services more affordable while supporting growth in Nigeria's digital economy. The federal government says implementation of the 54.99 trillion naira 2025 national budget, tagged the Budget for Restoration, will begin by the end of September. The Director General of the Budget Office, Taminu Yakubu, announced this at the third quarter Ministerial Stakeholders and Citizens Engagement Forum in Abuja. He explained that the budget is designed to stimulate economic growth, improve public services, and attract investment across key sectors. Yakubu said fiscal discipline and citizen participation will be crucial to success, noting efforts to simplify budget documents and translate them into local languages. He identified challenges such as oil revenue targets, debt servicing of 14.3 trillion naira, and project financing, while outlining measures to support Nigeria's $1 trillion economic goal by 2030. Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, and Finance Minister Wale Edu both stressed transparency and data-driven governance, with the 2024 budget already achieving about 80% performance. Nigeria's agro-allied sector has remitted 18.3 billion naira in value-added tax between 2022 and 2024, reflecting a 190.29% growth within 3 years, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. VAT collections rose from 4.25 billion naira in 2022 to 4.9 billion naira in 2023, before nearly doubling to 9.15 billion naira in 2024. Analysts say the consistent increase highlights the growing formalization of the agricultural value chain and its potential to drive economic diversification, with agribusiness activities expanding despite high costs and policy pressures. Experts, however, warn that the growth may not be sustainable without deliberate policy support. They urged the federal government to prioritize tax incentives, credit access, and infrastructure, while avoiding excessive taxation that could stifle production and fuel inflation. Stakeholders also stressed the need to integrate farmers into the tax net, expand value addition, and promote structured exports to boost revenue and food security. They insisted that taxation should serve as a tool to stimulate growth and competitiveness and not hinder it. Nigeria's crude oil production dropped to 1.434 million barrels per day in August, the lowest in 6 months, according to figures from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. The output level fell short of the country's 1.5 million barrel per day allocation and marked a decline from July's 1.507 million barrels per day and the 2 straight months of meeting its OPEC quota. The setback is linked to crude oil theft, pipeline vandalism, and technical disruptions at oil terminals, raising concerns over Nigeria's ability to sustain recovery. Analysts warn the shortfall could hurt government revenue projections for the 2025 budget, which heavily relies on oil earnings. While the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has set a target of 1.7 million barrels per day by year-end, experts stressed that only major reforms, stronger security, and fresh investment in upstream projects can deliver lasting gains. The federal government has endorsed China's newly launched Global Governance Initiative, describing it as a key step toward building a fairer and more inclusive international system. Unveiled on September 1 at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Plus meeting in Tianjin, the initiative seeks to address major global governance challenges, including climate change, digital inequality, representation in multilateral institutions, and the regulation of emerging technologies. In a statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria welcomed the initiative's focus on sovereign equality, rule of law, multilateralism, people-centered governance, and result-oriented action. The government said the framework aligns with its national development goals and the African Union's Agenda 2063, while reaffirming its commitment to United Nations reform and inclusive governance in areas such as artificial intelligence, cyberspace, and outer space. Many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SOUQ News Television. I am Omevi Idolo. Coming up shortly is SOUQ Business Landscape. Stay with us.
Known as the father of African literature, Chinua Achebe was born on the 16th of November 1930 in Ogidi, now Anambra State, eastern Nigeria. He was born to Isaiah Okafor Achebe, a teacher and an evangelist, and Janet Anenichi Iluegbunam, a vegetable farmer. Achebe has reshaped the global understanding of African identity through the power of storytelling. Raised during the twilight of colonial rule, Achebe's education was steeped in both Igbo tradition and the Western values of post-colonial Christianity. As a student at the University of Ibadan, he became fiercely critical of how Africa was portrayed in Western literature. Achebe believed that Western literature often painted Africa as a dark and primitive continent, but he sought to tell the African people's lens. In 1958, Achebe's groundbreaking novel Things Fall Apart shattered colonial narratives through the tragic story of Okonkwo, an Igbo warrior. Achebe illuminated the complexities of African culture and the devastating effects of European colonization. Things Fall Apart became more than just a novel. It became a symbol of African resistance against the oppressive narratives of colonialism. Achebe was not just a writer. He was a passionate advocate for African self-determination, and his political activism made him a critical voice in the post-colonial era. Even after a life marked by personal and political struggles, including a car accident that left him partially paralyzed, Achebe continued to inspire. He taught at Bard College and later Brown University, where his influence reached new generations of writers and thinkers. He was married to Christiana Chinwe Okoli, and they had 4 children. Sadly, he died in March 2013 at the age of 82. Chinua Achebe's legacy endures in his novels, his essays, and in the countless voices of African writers who follow in his footsteps. He gave us a voice, a story, and a vision of Africa that is ours to share.
Dr. SOUQ A. Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in the statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of the nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to the citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligation to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu's Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC). In this capacity, he founded the Nigeria Sugar Institute and spearheaded the Sugar Backward Integration Program, which sought to enhance local sugar production and reduce reliance on foreign imports. In June 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Adedeji as Special Advisor on Revenue, and by September of that same year, he had ascended to the position of Executive Chairman of FIRS, Nigeria's leading tax authority responsible for the assessment, collection, and management of federal taxes.
The focus will be on these indirect taxes, so that as long as you consume, you have to pay. As long as you have interest on your investment, you have to pay. And this is echoing Mr. President's message that we are not going to tax the seed, but we are going to tax the fruit. The fruit is what we focus on. So all those things, when we have this holistic process, it will be captured, and that the vision is to have a progressive tax, that if you earn more, you pay more, and if you earn less, you will not pay.
Under his leadership, FIRS exceeded its 2023 revenue target of 11.55 trillion naira. As chairman of FIRS, Dr. Adedeji implemented a performance-based system aligning with the service's new slogan, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Dr. Zaka Adedeji has done incredibly well in transforming and reforming the tax processes and procedures in Nigeria. In a little over a year being at the helms of the affairs of the tax body in Nigeria, we have seen a significant improvement in revenue generation. His policy of not crumbling business with taxation is something that also needs to be applauded. Zaka Adedeji philosophy is taxing fruits and not the seed, and taxing prosperity, not poverty. Because if you look at the fiscal landscape of Nigeria in the past 10 years, you find that businesses have struggled to live, and that has led to the exit of so many businesses from Nigeria. But with this new reform, we're saying that the businesses will profit from the reform processes, and that will mean more business for Nigeria. We will have a lot of foreign inflow in terms of foreign direct investment that will actually drive the process of economic growth for the country. And I think he has done so well, and he deserves a kudos, especially for taking the giant stride to restructure FRS for efficiency, for accountability, and for value for money.
He has also made the welfare of the staff a top priority, fostering a positive working environment that has brought smiles to the faces of FIRS employees nationwide. Supporters of the tax reform bills highlight several key benefits, harping on the need for streamlined tax processes that could reduce bureaucratic hurdles and foster an environment where businesses can thrive.
He has initiated a lot of reform which dovetail into the tax reform bills that is before the National Assembly. This initiative is to improve on the tax administration system in Nigeria with a view to improving on the collection systems that will be beneficial to every member of the Nigerian state. SOUQ, as is well known, has improved on simplifying tax reform even within the federal land revenue, which in no means has improved on tax administration. And he celebrated essentially for the core initiative of the tax reform.
Under Dr. Adedeji's leadership, Nigeria's tax system has gone beyond mere policy adjustments. Its focus is on fostering sustainable growth and ensuring that the benefits of tax reforms reach both businesses and citizens.
So those that are attacking the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them on the bad allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the level of country, but it is higher than all other states in the country. Probably this may be the reason why they are agitating. The one that you can see clearly is on this issue of VAT, and then they have other suspicion. So that is another worry that I have, the issue of trust. What do some experts call trust deficit. Yes, will be promoted greatly by this if corrective measures are not taken. Graduation has not been defined. But then people have to go by what is happening now. As they go against it. Since now the graduation is about contribution of state that are producing these goods and services being consumed. So they have the right to just say that, so now instead of 20%, it will now be 60%. And then you hear the government functionaries, including members of the committee, saying that no, that's not what they mean. They mean area of consumption. This 60% graduation is about consumption area, not location of the headquarters of company that produce the good or services. You should have defined that in the law.
Contributing to long-term national development, Dr. SOUQ A. Adedeji's career is a testament of his unwavering commitment to improving Nigeria's financial systems and enhancing revenue generation, showcasing his exceptional expertise in corporate and public finance.
Nigerians aspire for the fruits of democracy to manifest in quality infrastructure and investment in human capital development. According to the reviewed National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan, Nigeria needs an investment of $2.3 trillion over the next 30 years to close its public infrastructure deficit. The current administration under President Bola Tinubu grapples with a huge debt burden. Nigeria's public debt stock, which includes external and domestic debt, stood at 121.67 trillion naira in first quarter of 2024. Driven by the need to fulfill citizens' desires, the federal government focuses on enhancing revenue generation by creating a conducive environment for business growth. Against this backdrop, examining the tax reform bills, also known as the new tax bill, becomes necessary. In an endeavor to establish a cohesive fiscal framework governing taxation in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu introduced and presented the tax reform bills to the National Assembly in October 2024, an amalgamation of 4 distinct bills. The tax reform bills consisting of the Joint Revenue Board of Nigeria Bill 2024, Nigeria Revenue Service Bill 2024, Nigeria Tax Administration Bill 2024, and Nigeria Tax Bill 2024 currently have passed the second reading stage in the Senate. This is aimed at overhauling the country's fiscal policies. The reform focuses on value-added tax, VAT adjustments, corporate tax restructuring, a tax tribunal with statutory responsibilities to settle disputes, and targeted incentives for medium and small-sized enterprises, technology, and manufacturing. The goal is clear: to simplify the tax system, increase government revenue, and stimulate growth.
Many of the laws that we have in Nigeria today around taxation we inherited from our colonial masters. For example, the stamp duty law is a law of 1939. In 1939, the world had not envisaged that there would be the internet. Trying to apply a law of 1939 in 2024 does not show that we are people that are ready for the next generation. Because of this, we decided that instead of amending our old laws that we inherited from the colonial masters, why don't we write new ones for ourselves? And this has been done in many countries across the world. This is what led to us trying to harmonize so many taxes that we have in Nigeria into few high revenue yielding, broad-based taxes, and eliminate those taxes that impose burden on our poorest people and small businesses so they can have the opportunity to thrive. It is when our people are prosperous that they have the ability to pay taxes. We do not want to tax capital anymore. We do not want to tax investments. We do not want to tax poverty. Of course, we do not want to tax seed. We will wait and tax the fruits when people have invested and they are making prosperity.
Let's briefly delve into the provisions of the new tax reform bills. The bills propose a change to the distribution of value-added tax, VAT. It recommends 10% for the federal government, 55% for state, and 35% for local government councils. It also increases the derivation reflected in the allocation distribution among states and local governments from 20% to 60% in the spirit of fairness. The reform bills advocate zero VAT on exports and essentials such as food, education, healthcare, renewable energy, rent, and public transportation. The bill provides an exemption from personal income tax for employees earning 800,000 naira and below annually. Other beneficiaries of this exemption include low-income households. To make the business climate more favorable, particularly for small businesses, the bill proposes a tax exemption of 50 million naira annual turnover for small businesses, doubling the 25 million naira turnover earlier recommended by the Taiwo Oyedele-led Presidential Committee for Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. This section of the bill also grants tax relief to small businesses with total assets of 250 million naira, broadening the scope of beneficiaries. This serves as an economic stimulus for vital economic sectors and enables growth. To tackle the issue of multiple taxation, the bill proposes a reduction in the current company income tax to be implemented in 2 phases, 27.5% in 2025 and 25% in 2026. Furthermore, the bill introduces a 4% development levy payable until 2029. Subsequently, by 2030, The development levy will decrease to 2%, designated solely for the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. As a result, the new tax bill phases out the 2.5% education tax, 0.25% National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure tax, and 1% National Information Technology Development levy, aiming to consolidate the various taxes and levies companies pay. The new tax bill emphasizes the importance of registering and utilizing tax identification number TIN to improve tax compliance and data collection. The bill serves as an update to tax laws reflecting current developments. It addresses the rise of digital businesses and emerging sectors, ensuring tax provisions align with modern economic activities to help enhance government revenue. Regarding tax administration, the bill seeks to enhance compliance and improve coordination between FIRS and state tax authorities. Reducing redundancies and strengthening enforcement will increase revenue generation at lower collection costs. Supporters of the tax reform bills highlight several key benefits, harping on the need for streamlined tax processes that could reduce bureaucratic hurdles and foster an environment where businesses thrive.
After Nigeria, in West Africa, the second lowest VAT rate is 15%. Okay? It's weird that in Nigeria we want the best of everything as long as we don't have to pay taxes. Across the developed world, there are countries where people pay as much as 18, 20, 25% tax, even in Africa, VAT. So it's a welcome development. And of course, while you look at, the percentage in and of itself, I think what you should also look at is that while VAT is going up, many goods have been exempted from paying VAT. So if you're buying food items from the shelves now, there's a VAT component. Going forward, the VAT component will be removed. The same thing for medicines and healthcare and a lot of other things. And of course, considering the fact that now that the companies that are paying VAT are currently paying education tax, paying cybersecurity levy, paying a whole lot of other things. So by the time you pull out a lot of these components from the taxes they are paying, yes, VAT will go up, but as an aggregate, taxes could actually go down. I also understand that there's a portion, especially if you're investing in infrastructure, of your VAT that you get to reclaim because you are spending it on things that will be around in the country for a long run. But really, moving the VAT from 7 to 15% is in line with global best practices.
For example, in terms of our own operation, we have a lot of taxes that is coming from the federal, coming from the state, even from the local government. So I'm of the opinion that implementation of the tax reform will eventually streamline the whole process of bringing every tax administration into a singular format. And also imagine that you are having all different manners of taxations. People coming to our company today, they are from local government, other people are from state, then from federal. So if we have a uniform tax administration, I think it's only just natural that seamless process we definitely address a whole lot of issues. So for me, the time of me attending to someone from local government, attending to someone from the state, someone from the federal government would have actually be diverted into a more productive activity within my operations.
Despite their potential benefits, the reforms have sparked heated debates. Some critics of the tax reform bills cite inadequate consultation with critical stakeholders as a reason for their opposition. Other challengers argued that the bills have the tendency to create fiscal crisis in some states and further impoverish Nigerians. A major contentious part of the bill is the section dealing with VAT distribution. Governors of the 19 northern states, traditional rulers and stakeholders from the region have voiced concerns about the distribution of VAT based on derivation.
VAT could be addressed in two ways. Okay, the first way affect everybody. And then the second way is what the leaders in the north are complaining about. The first way is on the increase in the VAT rate. Increase in the VAT rate. We have never had a situation whereby progressive increase will be brought to VAT rate in any country in the world. From my reading, I have never experienced it. So those that are attacking the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them on the VAT allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the law.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape. Good morning and welcome to your regular programming. This is SBL, SOUQ Business Landscape, where we talk business, we talk development, we ask ourselves those major questions from stories that are not just trending, but stories that are shaping economies. Economies that are trying to get better from where they are, budgets that are working, budgets that are not working, monies being borrowed, spent, some accounted for, some we still can't find where they are. It's all about business. What are companies doing? The stock. Who is making the gains? It's SOUQ Business Landscape, and here we talk. I also want you to be part of it. So hey, go to our social media platforms and join this conversation. My name is SOUQ, John Roger SOUQ. Today we'll be looking at the 5% tax that has been on telecommunication right from the days of Buhari. And this administration is saying, let's knock it off. We'll also be asking ourselves some major questions. Are we being overtaxed from the way we are going? We talk agriculture, what's happening? Foreign bodies are coming in and dropping some money. Who exactly is profiting? We also get to look at what's happening with Ghana. They said bring the prisoners. Who exactly is taking in who? And why can't countries and nations account for their people being deported? I'm not alone on this table. So your excellencies, it's a beautiful Friday. Join me as I welcome. Here once again, before we go on the holidays, Swift. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jukes. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I know you're fine. You look fine. Good morning, Doctor. You look handsome as usual.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, world. Let's get ready to dissect and analyze every issue that is affecting us and that can build the nation. My name is Swift and doing so.
Okay, we also have the Oracle himself. He's here in his full glare. Good morning, Doc.
Just good morning, Swift. Good morning. Good Nigeria. Africa is rising.
You're welcome. So we'll go on a very short break, and once we return, we'll hit you with our first story. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Welcome back. Now to our first story, and it has to do with 5% telecom tax on voice, data, and services. Now, the federal government has revoked the 5% excise tax previously imposed on telecommunication services in Nigeria, a move expected to ease cost pressures for millions of mobile users. The tax, which was
intended to apply to both voice calls and data, has drawn widespread criticism from industry players and consumers advocates. Since its introduction under the Muhammad Buhari administration, Aminu Meida, Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC, disclosed that President Tinubu directed the removal of the tax during discussions on the recent passed Finance Act. The development is expected to bring relief to over 171 million active telecom users across the country, many of whom have faced a 50% tariff, all of whom have faced a 50% tariff increase implemented early this year. This is where we are. So let's start with it, Doc. I'm looking at, for those that are working, let me just look at those that are working, and their agencies are linked with a state, be it government, and their staffs are paying pay. It's a tax. You pay off your salary. So now, why should the staff pay tax in full from salary, and also now pay tax on services?
Well, I think there are different categories. Everywhere in the world you go to, people pay different level of taxes, because the only way government get money is through taxation.
Taxation on unilateral taxation, yes, without caring whether the person you are taxing is living or not living.
No. Say services are what is taxed everywhere in the world. So if you add value to services, you get some taxation. But I think what government is doing at the moment, of course, which is is in line with international best practice, is the fact that government is also looking at the way of exempting some people who may not be within the radar that are taxable, so that they don't pay so much tax. Because, for example, if you go to the United Kingdom, just value-added tax for luxury items is about 20%. And the only people that are exempted are children items. So this is the way government operates. And in some cases, you find that people, even in the United Kingdom, are paying what you call pay here today, depending on the income you are earning. Some people pay up to 40% of their income as tax to the government. So there's corporate tax. There are various kinds of tax, but it depends on what you are earning and the services that you use that you have to actually pay for.
Okay, so why we pay service after paying from what you earn, you now pay several other tax for services that are earned for? Is this not too much?
Well, talking about...
You've already taxed the lump, which happens to be the person's salary. So what is left should be for the person's upkeep. You've not talked about some other things. So why still tax those things based on services? The provider of the service is being taxed.
So, first of all, you should tackle why taxation came into...
It's not why taxation. Let's talk about this one.
That's what I'm saying. The first question you should ask is why we're taxes. Why did
Can we deal with this one?
That's what we're saying.
We're not in tax class now.
Why did somebody sit down and decide to start to tax? The reason why is because government cannot run on its own. Government needs money from taxes to run. You need taxes.
That is a non-distant. Let's deal with the issue of taxing services, telecom services.
In your salary, as much as it's painful. If you decide
it's not painful. It's what we want to do.
If you decide to go out, you are saying why should they tax? You are talking about the salaries of people.
Salaries has been taxed, right? Now we are looking at services. Telecom services. The provider is taxed. Why should the user be taxed?
So when the provider is taxed, that's what I'm saying. Automatically, it comes down to the user.
Okay.
It's not you going to be taxed 5%. It's going to be taxed from them.
Okay.
But you are going to see it in your bill. They don't
Definitely. So educate those that are arguing and not arguing.
And tax you. Now, the federal government has listened to the cries of people, because the cries of stakeholders was, it's not just going to be 5% tax. There's a 7.5% VAT tax already on telecoms. That means that people are going to be paying a 12.5% tax. So when the cries of people were coming out to say, look, this will be too much.
Who are these people?
Stakeholders. Stakeholders are you and I. Stakeholders are people who own businesses that they use direct online services. Stakeholders are people who, without online services like banks, without mobile services like banks, the military, the airports, car running services, you cannot operate functionally. So for example, these cabs you hire, without mobile licenses, they can't see who is requesting for them. You can't see their number. Right now, Telecoms has made it easy. You don't even need credit on your phone. All you need is data, and you can call and communicate. So without mobile services, these people will be out of business. Now the taxation is going to go into them. So as small as your cabs, if you order food online, there's going to be an increase because of the 12.5. So the federal government has now said, okay, since we cannot take away the VAT from the 12.5, let's remove the 5% tax. Let's also note that it was not started under the Tinubu regime. It has always been there in the Buhari regime. So as the tax was, what do you call them now? As the tax was being reviewed by the committee, they picked out all the things that were there before and said, okay, let us implement, let's put them back into the government. Now people have cried. And the Tinubu administration has said, okay, let's take it out because a lot of people need data. It's important to also note on this table that Nigeria for now has the cheapest data services in the whole of West Africa. We are paying way less than 20% of what our brothers in Ghana are paying and every other country around us. It's a plus to the Nigerian.
Do we earn as much as they do?
Now, when they say you are paying less, it means that when you check out what they are paying for services, what they earn for services, because there are Nigerians who are selling the same things you are selling, and they are working in Ghana. And some of the things are even less than what you are buying, or more expensive than what you are buying.
No, let's leave prices from different countries.
But
earning powers are different. No. It's not a privilege. Earning powers are different. No, we should not be happy. We pay for services that
it's not just the. It's not just about the earning power.
Yes.
And I think I've always argued the fact that government is becoming bigger now instead of actually becoming leaner.
Okay.
And the demand on government is increasing on a daily basis. Yes. People want more from government. And government don't have factories to raise this money to meet the needs of the people. Take, for example, in terms of coverage, internet coverage in Nigeria is still less than 70%.
Yes, we have 1.7 million people.
5G coverage, we have not scratched the surface. And now everybody is saying, federal government provide the infrastructure for 5G so that we can have people access to telecom, access to fintech. Now, where is this all money going to come from? So, federal government is investing in infrastructure, whether it's in electricity, whether it's in telephoning, whether it is in internet services, and all these things have to be maintained and sustained. And the only way to maintain that is that those who are using these services, they have to pay a fraction of it. And you see, the problem here is the fact that for a very long time, Nigerians have enjoyed tax holidays. So tax is so strange to a number of people because only very few people were paying tax. So now that, of course, people are understanding that, look, government needs money and that to come from taxes. That's why you need you and they cry everywhere. Oh, this government is a tax government. But everywhere in the world, when you see good things happen, there are consistent taxes that people pay. And that is the only way government survive. And so if you don't want to pay tax, then of course you'll be asking for excellent service delivery. But we need service delivery. We want to look like UK. We want to look like Saudi Arabia.
Why do we want to look like
We want to look like America.
Why can't they look like us?
Yeah, of course they can't look like us because we are not there yet.
We can't be better than them.
Yeah, we can be better than them. And the only way to be better than them is us supporting government by our contribution when we pay for services, and then of course by implication we are funding government activities. You see, there's been this argument where people are saying Nigerian people don't hold their government accountable. The reason was because many of them really do not understand that what money government is spending is their money, because they don't see it directly that this money is coming from them.
Okay,
and I think it's big.
From January they will understand better.
Everybody understand now that, look, this is our money, that if you see somebody who is wasting your money,
the onus is on you to say, look, this is taxpayers' money.
Wow.
I'm paying for this. And then you will be able to protect critical infrastructure and also ensure that there's accountability in government. Because if you're not paying, you feel that it's their money.
Yes.
But when you start to pay and you know that this is a pain and a sacrifice that you are given, then of course you have to be conscious how that money is spent.
No.
So even in terms of determining who spend the money, because like they say, politics is who gets what, when, and how. Now, the person who is going to spend that money, you must be interested.
True.
So that at the end of every 4 years, you will say, look, you didn't spend it last time. We are not going to renew your tenancy at the State House. So these are the things that will actually engender the real and genuine conversations among citizens so that we cannot participate to say somebody is a trust of my money. We are no longer saying oil money now, we are talking about my money because this is my sweat. And so I can't be seeing you wasting my sweat. So we will have to be involved and then, of course, participate deeply in governance, and then we'll see a society that is better. Because it is the docility of the Nigerian citizens.
Of the followers.
Yes, that has made government to misbehave over the years. But now that people understand that, look, I'm paying, and I am interested in what my money is being used for, then, of course, we will see better performance from those who run public service.
Okay, now let's still go back to that same argument. We are seeing providers being taxed. We are seeing Nigerians, several groups rising up and asking questions and crying out. Now, at this point in time, that tax has been paid all along, knowingly or unknowingly, whether from what you're charged, from what you pay for data or what you pay for voice. Why do we keep seeing when government come out to say, okay, this is what we are doing, or it's been there, we now see a group of, a pocket of resistance for things that you've been doing before?
So the pocket of resistance in Nigeria comes because once the government announces, we the citizens know, or the end users know that there's going to be an increment. So for example, when the government says, when they say electrical tariff, the electrical tariff has been there. Once they tell you that in January it takes effect, you just notice that electricity bills go up. Why? Because in Nigeria, like we always say, there's the committee that is supposed to monitor pricing is yet to be there. I was listening, I think, to the Minister of Agriculture when they were saying that the Telecom government is rolling out a new price control, that they even want to be controlling food from the farms. They want to put, they want to, as much as possible, escort the food till it gets to the urban and rural areas so that it is cheaper, so that the pricing can be maintained. Because the difference between what you are buying from the farmers and what's being sold in the market, the cry is much. Someone was talking about a particular luxury phone online. In the UK, it's being sold for about 1.6 million naira. In Nigeria, it's being sold for 4.2 million naira. And people will tell you, oh, it's importation, is this, is that. Now there's a removal on anything. There's the removal on gadgets has been reduced from a 20% to less than a 5%. But we are not still seeing the reflection. When you ask the sellers, they will tell you that, it's old stock we have. There's always old stock. But once the tax comes up, immediately they tell you it's new stock. These are part of the challenges we are having. That's why people always come out and cry to government that what can be done. Also, we have realized, like everywhere in the world, when a new tax policy comes out, the earlier you nip it in the bud, like the citizens come, cry, so that there's a sit-down with the government, and government can decide, okay, instead of 5%, let's take it to 3%, let's take it to 2%, or let's scrap it totally, which is what is happening with the telecoms. We will not benefit. So, for example, a lot of young people like to do unlimited, because in Nigeria, if you buy data, if you are not careful, within a day or 2 days, you can sleep at night and wake up in the morning and your data is gone. But when you do, in quotes, the unlimited, you know that, okay, unlimited is for enough. So there was this particular network service that unlimited was 20,000 naira. Now it has been increased to 30 because there was a surcharge. Now the surcharge has been removed, and VAT has been reduced for telecoms, but it hasn't gone back to 20. It's still 30. And I know that tomorrow, if the federal government says, oh, they want to now implement what the telecoms claims they have been paying since, it's still going to increase to a 40 or a 50. So that's why we need to cry out, so that there's a maintaining, the pricing doesn't go up too much.
Then where is the Consumer Protection Council? Where did they come out? Where did they come in play in all this discussion?
Good. They are a problem. I'm sorry, I'm going to use that word. The Consumer Protection Council in Nigeria is an issue. years ago, I bought a laptop from a quote, one of the biggest shops in Lagos that has a brand and a name, and the laptop spoiled within a year. I took it back to the shop. They said, okay, just take it to the makers. And when we got there, we found out that the screen, when they sent the number of the screen, they said it is not made by their company, meaning it was a fake product. It took me almost 3 months to drag those people. I sent emails to the Nigeria Consumer Protection Council, and there was no reply. Then somebody said, you probably need to go to their office in Abuja. I said, are you telling me they don't have an office in Lagos? So a lot of Nigerians have suffered because we do not see the effect. I've not heard them say anything online. I've not heard them hold press conferences. I stand to be corrected. I've not heard them say directly, this is a direct phone number to hit us with, because I go to their site and check. But these people are earning salaries. So I think they need to be called out too.
Okay, but I think they are there and they're doing a lot. It's just the fact that we choose where we want to listen and what we want to hear. They have offices all around. But I think the bigger problem for us is the fact that many of us don't really care about government. And I think that's a bigger problem in Nigeria. So people are not aware. So even when things are unfolding, people are not aware.
Is it selective ignorance?
Yes, I think so, partly. And this is because that for so many, whether consciously or unconsciously, government is seen as Oyibo man's work, consciously or unconsciously. So we don't see it as our work. Take, for example, all websites of government are rated as are today by Bureau of Public Service Reforms to see that information are up to date on website. And I was talking to the DG, Nigeria National Orientation Agency the other day, and I said, but you have a lot of beautiful things, but nobody sees it. That you go to clean on NOA site and ask, for example, where's the office of the
CPC,
Consumer Protection Council in Lagos? He will give you address. He will give you address directly. If you ask for telephone number, he will give you telephone number. Now, all this has been done to enhance service delivery. But the question is that how many people have access to these things? There is a thing in us that if we want to do something, they call it the fire brigade spirit or something, that we don't even respond until the late hour when people are now saying that there are going to be consequences. That's when people now start to want to participate. Otherwise, when these laws are made, there are public hearings. There are public hearings. Sometimes these drafts are in the public domain. Nobody read them. Maybe until one journalist stumbles into a fact and now raise it on air, then it becomes a national debate. The way to go is that when these things are happening, take for example, when this new tax reform happened, the president of the committee, they went around the whole of Nigeria, from one town hall to another, meeting with different kind of stakeholders for their input into these tax bills. And everybody said nothing. Until now that they saw, oh, there's a 5% surcharge on petrol, and the journalists raised that alarm, and it became a national debate, as if it was just smuggled in. So where were we all this while when the conversation were going on? Who is taking place to look and scrutinize what is being presented? Budgets are presented in this country, people don't care. So I think it is that, you call it selective ignorance,
that we need to actually deal with as a people. That people must understand that the business of governance is for each and every one of us. That we are all part of the system, and that we must all contribute to the debate and make it robust, so that when things are being introduced, we can clarify. Look at it, when the VAT issue came out during that tax debate, it seems that there were 4 bills. Only one issue was generating issue, and that was VAT. Was it from origin of where it's consumed or where it's produced? After all that whole argument, everybody agreed to the tax law, and now it has been assented. Now people are raising objections. So I think that we must need, as a people, to be interested in the things that happens around us and contribute to debates, and then we make it robust, and everybody understand what is on the ground. Here there are a lot of laws that people don't even are aware of, because we don't participate in the process. Even when they are announcing it in the radio, we will switch it off to another channel, maybe where music is played, or where Swift is watching a whole movie.
So I'm so sorry, I need to tackle you on this one, Doctor.
Which, the whole movie, or?
No, on the FCCP, the Nigerian Service Protection Council. You know, I told you that I had a laptop issue. I spent over 400 and please hold on.
Hello. Can we stay on this?
This topic.
Okay,
now,
good.
I just went to their page on X. Normally, even EFCC, if you see the kind of the kind of reply when people have complaints, it is just now they are trying to sit up, sir. If you go to their posts, you see 3 replies, 3 likes. There's no engagement. You can't compare that to EFCC. You can't even the Nigerian police has over 200 reposts. Comments, once they drop a comment, people are going there because these people are not active.
Yeah, but you see, because
when I went to their social media pages, I went to their Facebook page, I went to their Twitter, I went to their Instagram, it was dormant at that time. That was 3-4 years ago. I am still on their page right now. I'm looking at it. They just made something last week. So you see, sir, sometimes you say, as a government, you must ask yourself, what is the medium people use to communicate? It's the same reason why people have been saying the Tinubu administration has not done very amazingly with communications for a bit. They are picking up right now. You have amazing laws, you have amazing rules. How do young people know about your rules? They know about it via social media. In America, Donald Trump tweets everything. The US president, Senate, they tweet whatever they are doing. They let you know. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, because they know people are on the go. You get your news on the go. Now, I am coming to your page, and the communication, I'm seeing people complain, there's no reply on that. That tells you that they need to sit up. And it's not an issue. It is, yes, sometimes Nigerians, we don't go in conscious effort. But many times, it is not just us. It is the nonchalancy of certain bodies, because they feel nothing is being done.
The point I'm making is that,
yes,
for example, in the last 2 years, we have a special assistant, that is Abala Usman, whose task is to assess the performance of ministry, not just budgeting performance. And so every ministry today, every agency of government, they are graded. That's the point I'm making. That even what they do on their website, the ability to communicate, is also graded. So there's a whole lot of competition that is ongoing as we speak. But what the point I'm making is that many people, in spite of all this that is happening, a lot of us really do not care about government. We don't care about government. What we care about is, yes, we are our own local government. We provide our water, we provide our security, we provide our electricity. So we don't need government anyway. So what that means is that the people that are supposed to be holding government accountable are not doing so. So these guys are sleeping. Now, if we are on their neck to demand service, to demand responsibility and accountability, every agency of government will sit up.
Definitely.
You see, that was the point I was making yesterday when I talked about the Inigo, the contract in Rwanda. The government of Rwanda, for example, comes out on a Saturday to do exercise with the citizens. And in that exercise, he comes along with his commissioners, ministers, and special assistants all around. And then, of course, the crowd of people are out there. And they have opportunity to interact with government. And they say, oh, education, our roof is leaking. And nobody is attending to it. And say, which region is that? They say, oh, this is region S. And they say, oh, minister, what's happening? So, you see, everybody sits up because the citizens are themselves the watchdog of those who are public officers. See, why is government pulling down this thing? This 5%? Because citizens are responding.
And it's getting to the appropriate quarter.
Yes. You know, why do you think that, of course, the whole debate around the 5% subcharge, when government is saying it's not starting in January, where it is finance minister that is going to decree going to start? Why? Because people have raised objections. So we can't sit in one angle of our house and say government is not listening when we are not even speaking. So it is until citizens start to speak that we will see whether government is responsive or not responsive.
Okay. While we look at government being responsive or not responsive, for everyone out there, remember that we are that particular people Doc is talking about. It's my responsibility, it's your responsibility to speak up, not just speak up. Go ahead and make sure that your voice is heard. Now, for those still looking at the issue of the 5% tax on telecommunication, the president he said, hey, hold on, this is not going to come to play. So let's rest that for now and look forward to January and getting the government coffers full and work really happening. Let's get to what's happening with NUPENG. They are still there. Now they are threatening a strike thanks to Dangote Refinery. Now the fragile truce brokered by this Nigerian Ministry of Labour and Employment between the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, and Dangote Refinery is under threat, as NUPENG has issued a fresh warning of potential industrial action. In a statement released yesterday, the union accused Dangote Refinery of failing to uphold the resolution agreed upon during the peace talks. A key flashpoint involves Alhaji Sayu Aliu Dantata, that's the founder of MRS Holding, who reportedly instructed his truck drivers, long-term members of NUPENG, to remove union stickers from their trucks and head and load from Dangote Refinery. Now, dear Doc, we spoke about this yesterday, either yesterday or 2 days ago, if I remember. And these are issues that we not get to ask ourselves, at what point should we manage productivity and unionism? How do we get this to play? How do we get this to play out without friction? Looking at this is not a government establishment. This is a private establishment. In no way have they infringed on government laws or gone against government laws. So how can we really get this friction off the table and not having union hold workers to ransom, or hold private sector to ransom, or private sector hold workers or union to ransom?
You know, I think it was in 2011, I was talking with a friend of mine, and he said to me, you know, since I was born, and I'm over 40 years now, and every time they are doing campaign in this country, they only say they are going to do 3 things for us. They say they'll give us light, they'll give us water, and they will fix road. Every government promises those 3 things: light, water, and road. And so it's becoming clear to me that the reason why they are not fixing the road is that if they fix it, they will not have issues to campaign with.
Man, what do you say when everything is good?
So I think it's part of the problem and the challenge that we see here. 2027 started too early. And some people just want to be relevant. And I think we just need to hit the nail on the head. People just want to be relevant. And the only way to be relevant is to create a chaos. Because the chaos is what actually provides the issues around debate and campaigns.
Are you going by the way of politicizing this particular issue right
And
now?
I can tell you for a fact that it is politics at its peak.
So somebody is pushing Nupeng?
Oh yes. Some people want to just get into relevance.
Yes.
Because 2027 is very close. And if all the issues that people are debating and asking, and government seems to be responding to some of all these issues, then of course it will be very difficult for a contest in 2027. And therefore, we must find a way to instigate or stir up strife so that we have issues to talk about. And I think that is exactly what is happening. Because otherwise, I don't see any reason. Dangote is producing his petrol, and he asked you to come and distribute for him. You said you don't want to, that you prefer importation. And the man said, okay, no problem. And then he went to import his trucks and says, if you want my petrol, apply. We will come and deliver at your pump at no cost to you. But this is what I want you to sell the price. We are giving you at 8.20. In Lagos, you can sell at 8.41. You can sell in far up better at 8.51. And then somebody said he's monopolizing. Monopolizing what? We have 4 refineries for God's sake. So these are issues that are not logical. They don't make common sense.
You want to make common sense?
But they exist.
Yeah, but you have to just make yourself relevant by flaunting your muscle.
Dear Doc, you know I'm coming back to you. We don't hide things on this table because this table don't lie. When I come back to you, give us the names of those that are instigating these people. So now, Swift, let's come this way. Doc has almost started steering this table. 4,000 trucks was what was planned for. He also planned bank covering for whoever decides to become to pick up his services. Now we are seeing Nupeng come into play. All along, where and how is the law going to start protecting private businesses from unionism?
Okay, so I would quickly want to take us back to history in Japan. I think it was in 2011 or 2018. There was a riot or there was a strike by the Japanese bus drivers. What they did during the strike was they didn't collect fares, but they picked people for free. So the buses kept moving because that's the whole idea. Because if you do not move, the government will say you are disrupting the economic activities. You are stopping people from going to their offices. So you'll be arrested. It's a jailable offense. If you are not even careful, they can probably even kill you for it because you are depriving people of their daily income. Until federal government starts to make certain rules and laws, it wouldn't work. Nupeng, for Nupeng, I'm fine with Nupeng. You know, if it's a federal office, there's an issue, there's a hike in fuel price, Nupeng will come out and say, no, the average citizens need this. You say, oh, the minimum wage is too low, Nigeria Labour Congress is there, Nupeng comes out to support like SOUQ and other organizations. But when you, one organization, is annoyed that since Dangote refinery came out, at least to a large extent, we have not suffered fuel scarcity. We have not suffered that the importation was bad or something happened. There has been a free flow of fuel. In fact, yesterday I went to buy gas, and then gas went from 11 to 13. And I asked
Please, can you not talk about it?
I'm coming. I have to.
It's pinning me somewhere.
And I
Can you
asked
not?
the person why, and he told me that because of this issue, they have not been lifting gas from Dangote refinery. And I asked the guy, oh, it's Dangote refinery that is giving us gas now. I thought, he said, well, madam, any which way, sure, but you are even lucky that we have now. Because Nigerians are amazing people. We just like to increase prices for no reason. And Nupeng knows this. They know that once they threaten a strike, the government's hands are tied. Because the government knows the ripple effect is going to be on Nigerians. And once the ripple effect comes on Nigerians, Nigerians will be angry. I think my problem is with government and Nigerians. I'm not saying Nigerians call Nupeng out enough. Nigerians are supposed to send them a warning.
Hold on.
Yes.
Now, there's been a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there.
Yes.
A lot of people, because we did sample some opinion yesterday and 2 days ago.
Okay.
A lot of people are of the opinion that Dangote is going against the norm and an agreement. And that is why there is likely going to be an impending strike. And things, just like you said, prices of things are just going up because of people preparing for whatever they think is going to come. How can government on their own side also try their best, apart from private organizations, to really inform people of what exactly is happening?
Unfortunately, once people have a mindset, there's nothing you can do. We had it in the last election. A comedian cracked a joke. He said there's one candidate that people like. If he makes a mistake, people still clap and find a solution. There's another candidate that nobody seems to like him at all because a former president has said he was bad. So no matter what he says, it is bad. Then there's one candidate that the whole people have decided to troll on. No matter what he says, no matter how intelligent it is, you troll on him. We saw it in the last election. We see it on social media. We see somebody come out and cry and accuse somebody of raping them. And even when he's claiming that the person didn't do anything, after a while, the police comes, take it to court, but they still tag that person that was accused, that has been cleared as a rapist, and the person's business goes down because of the power of wrong information. For the educated, we all know what the problem with Dangote and Nupeng is. At the end of the day, what was the agreement? Dangote drivers that are willing to register with Nupeng, when you come to our facilities, anybody willing, because it's willing, it's not by force, they can't put a gun on their driver's head. So drivers do not want to be part of Nupeng. It is their civil right not to be part of Nupeng, right? Now they are struggling that Dan Tata, who is the owner of the MD of MRS, that's what they are claiming, that he said all his drivers should remove the Nupeng stickers because Nupeng went and put stickers on all the trucks, that they should remove the Nupeng stickers. And to him, it's not mandatory they should have Nupeng stickers. And any of them that want to register should register. And they felt the way he said it, told is like an indirect way of telling the drivers it's not mandatory. So most of the drivers who were at the forefront of registering with Nupeng has pulled out. So Nupeng is claiming that MRS has indirectly used body language or whatever to threaten drivers not to join them by telling them to pull out the sticker, and it is coming from Dangote, and because of that, this impending strike is going to happen. Does that even make sense?
Okay. While we are looking at making sense or not making sense.
So what happened to the freedom of association?
No, they must join. They don't have a choice. Who are they? That's what Nupeng is saying.
Slow down. I'm the one in the middle now.
See, but that's what I'm saying. So what happened to the freedom of association?
Bam.
Which is legal. You see, because the truth of the matter is that people must understand that it is where their right ends, other people's right begin. And I think the whole issue is that we're living in an environment where, of course, the fragility of government is very high. And unlike the days where we were growing up, that government were very powerful. Government is so powerless at this time. And because, of course, you have to struggle for legitimacy, and I don't think it's just in Nigeria here,
no, it's not.
Especially in most of the democratic world, that people are struggling for legitimacy. So government is losing its potency. And that is why all these things are happening. Yeah, of course, people are free to join association. But you cannot make it mandatory that people must join your association. It's not by force. We are free citizens. There's a law that governs the state. And as long as nobody is infringing on any law, and I don't see a reason why people must have to come out to say, oh, we are defending a cause. You see, because it's so annoying. I read yesterday somewhere also that Nigerian Labour Congress want to go and picket the National Senate because they have issues with one of their senators.
Sorry. The Nigerian Labour Congress has issues with one of their senators?
No. Senate have issues.
Okay.
Labour Congress want to go and protest.
Okay. For who exactly?
On behalf
of
one of the parties.
Yes.
So how does that affect Labour?
Okay. What happens to the constituency where the person is from?
Their voices are not being.
So this is the issues that I spoke about, where of course every Dick and Harry is looking for significance and relevance.
Okay.
With society.
So, Doc, before we get to point where we mention names, let's look at businesses. Because if we are trying to get people to really invest this large into an economy that we want to grow this much, they definitely will make an impact. They will make a dent in that, in whatever sector they choose to. And if we see a Dangote that has chosen this particular sector and is making this amount of significant impact and dent on that sector, would it not scare people or foreign investors to put up this humongous amount of investment in a sector, knowing fully well that tomorrow a union can come and say, no.
If you don't do ABC.
If you don't follow our dictate, then we have problems.
Yeah, but I think you should know the onus is especially on us, again, as Nigerians, who are affected by whatever decision that, whether it's NUPENG or whatever union is taking. Then we also have authority to say we go to court because we're interested in this issue, because the activities is affecting us in a way. And then, of course, the judiciary will, of course, make a verdict on whether what they're doing is legal or not. So we can take them to industrial court. Nigerians must be ready to do this. And of course, then the court must be willing to exert its authority in terms of interpretation of laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There is no associational law that is above the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The ground norm that governs every behavior, every association, is the Federal Constitution of Nigeria. And to any extent, any associational deed or law contradicts the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that law is null and void and unapplicable. So it will be the court that determine whether what part they're doing is right. And I think that is what we need to do, so that people can actually be put in the places where they rightfully belong. Because when you are not contesting some of all these things, I say, oh, you have the right to protest. Also understand that I have the right to live.
Okay. While protest is a right, everybody has the right to. Doc has also brought it back to the fore. Every other person has the right to life and right to go about their normal businesses without interruptions from your protest. That should sink into everybody's head. So it doesn't matter what you're trying to protest or what you're protesting for. Remember that the lives of others will be affected by what you do. So consider that too. We'll go on a very short break. When we return, SBL will be right back. Remember, take this time out and go to SOUQ News TV and join. Follow us. We'll follow you back. Let this conversation continue. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying equipment for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
In Africa, there's one man who has consistently been a household name and index of reference in the business arena. The name Aliko Dangote apparently stands tall. The Africa's richest man clearly benchmarks success, wealth, and prosperity. Dangote's unflinching love and passion for business are quite phenomenal. These can be traced to his background. Born in April 10, 1957 to Maria Sanusi Dangote and Mohammed Dangote, his maternal ancestors were prosperous caravan traders under British colonial rule, and his grandfather, Alhaji Sanusi Dangote, was a commodity trader. Dangote's grandfather was heavily involved in his upbringing and helped ignite his entrepreneurial spirit. For Dangote, one would ever assume his wealth was handed out or easily channeled, being an offspring of Dangote, but his success didn't come through daydreaming. Dangote complemented inherited fortune with deliberate hard work and innovation to pave his way to the top. Those who knew Dangote while growing up would not be surprised at his outstanding success. At age 8, Dangote uses pocket money to buy sweets, which he and others sell for a profit. Everything big in life starts from little. Taking a clue from this, Dangote, from a seed loan of 500,000 obtained from his uncle, started business, which he traded commodities and business supplies, primarily cement. By 1981, his firm was successful that he had incorporated other businesses and established the Dangote Group. His empire extended to foodstuffs, including sugar, salt, wheat, cement, haulage, and other business concerns. Among his holdings were Dangote Industries, Dangote Bale Nigeria, Dangote Cement PLC, Benue Cement Company PLC, Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC, Dangote Flour Mills, and Nascent Ally Industries PLC. In addition to his holdings in Nigeria, the Dangote Group has operations in several other African countries. With these giant strides in the business arena, Dangote will forever be grateful to his grandfather for giving him wings to fly. According to Forbes, an American business magazine, Dangote remains the richest man in Africa with an estimated fortune of $13.9 billion. Dangote is one Nigeria, highly decorated with honors as well. His urine service and huge investment also got him both local and international recognitions. Like the Guardian Man of the Year in 2015, he won the 2016 African Business Leader Award organized by the African American Institute. Dangote was cited as one of the top most influential Africans by the New African magazine in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2019. He was recently conferred with the prestigious award of the National Order of the Lion by the President of Senegal. When it comes to breaking jinx, Dangote has it in full measures. He took his pioneering and jinx-breaking adventure to another dimension with the unveiling of the $20 billion refinery, widely adjudged as the largest single-train petrochemical refinery in the world. The refinery has the total capacity of 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day and is expected to earn as much as $21 billion in annual income. Situated on 2,500 hectares site at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, Lagos, it is supplied with crude oil by the largest subsea pipeline infrastructure in the world. When fully in operation, the refinery will provide 135,000 permanent jobs in the region. When it comes to family life, Dangote seems to, however, prefer maintaining a low profile. He got married to Zainab in 1977 but divorced at an unknown date. He was later married to Maria Mohammed Rufai. Dangote has 3 daughters named Halima, Maria, Fatima, and he also adopted a son named Abdurrahman. Dangote is one grounded authority that combines real intelligence with self-effacing demeanor, a persona that naturally makes kindness. Like an eagle, Dangote's foresight and unusual business acumen make him a rare to come by. Though he owns chains of business in Nigeria and across Africa, the quest by this uncommon risk taker to conquer more business territories may not wane anytime soon.
Anthony Onyemaechi Elumelu was born on the 22nd of March 1963 in Jos, North Central Nigeria, to Susanna Dominic Elumelu, originally from Delta State. Tony earned a degree in economics from Ambrose Ali University, where he laid the foundation for his future career, and then furthered his education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Owner of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Heirs Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa, UBA, demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
To first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is SOUQ business landscape. Hello and welcome back. It's still SBL SOUQ business landscape, and we've been looking at major stories, developing issues, economic as it concerns. We've also been looking at issues that has to do with taxation, Nigeria, Nupeng, Dangote. Okay, let's go forward. Now, the Debt Management Office, DMO, they've denied reports that the federal government spent $611.71 billion in March 2025 servicing its first ever US dollar-dominated bond issued in the domestic capital market. In a statement issued on Monday, the DMO clarified that the figure had been wrongly attributed. Mark that, wrongly attributed. It explained that the $611.71 billion represented the total debt service for all outstanding federal government of Nigeria bonds during the period, excluding the US dollar bond. The clarification comes amid growing scrutiny of Nigeria's debt profile and repayment obligation. The DMO noted that accurate information on bond issuance and servicing is always made public and available through its official reports. It urged stakeholders and media to rely on verified data to avoid misleading interpretation of government debt operations. This is where we were talking about, just one of those things we were talking about before we went on the break. Now, this $611.71 billion, the conversation out there just a few days back was that was servicing for the dollar bond. And everybody was screaming and shouting without really trying to verify the fact. Whereas that was an entire debt servicing for every other government obligation when it comes to debt, aside that particular bond. When do we start holding people accountable for false information?
Well, you see, it's difficult to hold people accountable.
Why is it difficult?
Yeah, because you see, when I started my journey as a young researcher, the first lesson that I learned was that we can use same data to make different inferences or conclusion. I did a study for a particular brand, and they were going to introduce ice cream some years ago. And on the face value, what you see is a figure that you had 20,000 respondents, and 80% says they don't want ice cream. That's a fact. So, now if 80% says they don't want ice cream, I'm likely to tell the brand owner that, look, investing in that kind of a trade is risky. But on the second look, we discovered that really, who were these 80%? And we saw that about 70% of the 80% were actually people who were 40 years and above, who themselves were actually afraid of sugar, as it were, because of associated diseases. And those are not the people that ice cream are made for. So you understand it. But it's same data. And they are not wrong. But it's the narrative that you weave around it that is critical and important. And I think this is what people who work in government need to understand. That when you're throwing data into the public space, they themselves must be selective of the kind of narrative they want. So we are not doing damage control after we have released data. We must be able to read the psyche and the mind of an average interpreter. What is he going to see in this data? Because you don't need to be there when people are going to be interpreting whatever that is out there. So what point I'm making is the fact that in terms of communication, we must be clear enough so that people have an understanding of what information that is out there on the public space. And once people can understand what is on the public space, then disinformation becomes difficult. And I think that they need to do a lot more. And somebody was asking a question recently, for example, Nigerian debt is increasing much more than every other government has borrowed. And now the person who is pushing that narrative, will you say is wrong? No. Because if you look at the naira value of the debt, it's actually spiraling. But when you look at the dollar value of the debt, you see it's going down.
Yes.
So we have local debts, we have foreign debts. And we can't denominate all of them in naira and expect that people will understand that this is the position of things. So when you are trying to explain to somebody and say, oh, it's not as if we are borrowing more. What has changed is the fact that we're valuing our debt in naira, but the one that is in dollar. But if you now have to value them in dollar terms, you will see that, of course, there's some depreciation in the quantum of debt that the nation owes. So, but these are information that the Debt Management Office need to put on the public space. How to use data such a way that you can create a narrative that people can relate with and not be misinformed or disinformed. So I think the burden is on them really as the Debt Management Office, that they are the ones putting out this data on the public spaces, and people are going to your website to get this data. So you cannot say that they are wrong. Now we are not trying to interpret after the fact. So it's the information that you put on the public space that you want people to hear, the narrative, that weaving your story around the narrative. Narrative don't necessarily need to be false. So it doesn't necessarily also to be true. But what is it there is that people have to pick what they want. But you don't create that environment. And therefore, in terms of communication, make it simple enough that anybody that sees it will understand that this is A for A and not A for Q.
Okay, why we are looking at A for A and not A for Q? Okay.
Wait, can I pause you? There's something I need to say.
Okay.
And this is very critical. When Doctor was talking, he said people that didn't need ice cream, and he looked towards my direction. Please, I just want to state the facts. I still eat ice cream, and I still need ice cream. Before you say anything,
Don't break it.
No, because this is critical. Before tomorrow, they are sharing ice cream in the office now, and it's on record that I said I don't eat ice cream.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Because she won't have that ice cream.
It's not good for height.
No, it's not good. The federal government has unveiled 26 trade areas of new technical education curriculum. Yes, you heard that. We were talking about this yesterday and also 2 days ago. The federal government has released the full list of 26 trade areas approved under its revised technical education curriculum, set to take effect from the 2025-2026 academic section. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the Federal Ministry of Education confirmed that all federal science and technical colleges will be converted to federal technical colleges under the new policy. The announcement was jointly made by the Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Alausa, and Dr. Shuaiba Said, that's the Minister of State, Professor Shuaiba Said Ahmed. According to the ministry, each college will be mandated to offer between 6 and 10 trade courses, while students will be required to study 9 or 10 subjects. This will include 1 of core trade subjects, 5 to 6 general subjects, 2 to 3 trade-related subjects, and 1 elective. Director of Press and Public Relations, Bon Folashade, said the reform is aimed at strengthening Nigeria's technical manpower base and equipping young people with employable skills. Now, Doc, our time is very, very fast running. I still remember very well that a lot of people that went to technical schools in the past, they were not just going there to go get certificates to go study, or they were going there to get trade certificates. And by the time they were out of those particular schools, they were highly employable. Wow. Some of them were leaving Nigeria and going to the UK to go and work because they had a trade certificate. Are we seeing us going back to that particular era?
I think it's a possibility, and I think that's exactly the route to go, as it were. I said this yesterday, the fact that why they're also thinking about this is one problem I have with the interactions between the town and the gown. The weak link between the town and the gown is the bigger problem that we have. We know that a lot of the teachers in school, they are not able to actually teach this trade.
Because they are not experienced on
they are not hands-on experience on these issues. Take, for example, mechanic. But you need a certified mechanic to be internship site for these children who are going to be participating in this skill development. I'm also hoping that it's not just the curriculum that is a problem. It's the delivery of that curriculum that's actually the issue. That if the curriculum is well delivered, a lot of things can actually change for us and can turn the curve very quickly. But unfortunately, that synergy is always not there. My friend Professor Emeje was telling me 2 days ago, he was in Benin, and I said, I hope that you have reached out to my local people because there's so much natural medicine in my place. And he said he's doing all of that engagement, and I said, great, because that's the only way. You are studying, but there are people who have that core competence and experience in the thing you are teaching. I remember there was a day I was trying to do skill acquisition for members of our youth in the church, and then I brought in one local woman to come and teach them tie and dye. And I was standing there listening to the conversation. And so when he finished, I called my son and said, you did chemistry in school. You knew all these chemical properties. How is it that you have not been able to make a tie or a soap for once? You see, that is the missing link. That is the gap. That the children are taught chemistry in school and they really do not understand what chemistry is all about. That chemistry can actually make them entrepreneurs when they leave school. So what we have done over the years is to make students just cram and memorize formula and pour them down at the exam. But how does this translate into reality? This is missing. School cannot do it all alone. Why I am so excited that there's a review on the curriculum, I think that the Ministry of Education need to go a step further to go do accreditation for certain skills that becomes the training hub for this young student, whether it is during their long vacation. So rather than stay at home, that the practical curriculum will be in these workshops where these children will go and then, of course, translate the theories into practical. In that case, we will raise an army of young people who are work ready. And that will just be a blessing to this nation.
Okay, while we're looking at blessing to this nation,
yes,
if we look at construction industry, a lot of people that work on the roofs, the POPs, the tiles, they come from outside this country, our neighboring country. If we look at the rail, China that is giving us funds for that part, bring their people as workmen. I've gone to some construction site and I saw Asians, carpenters, masons, because of some skill set. Now we are looking at being able to have our technical schools where students are graduating and are tradesmen. Should we be looking at, just like Doctor said, bringing field people in there? So you're not just graduating them with a trade certificate. You are graduating them with experience to go out there if they want to continue to schooling, good and fine. If they want to school and work, good and fine. Are we looking at in the next 4 or 5 years, we are having tradesmen that are certified, both on paper and in experience?
So there's an African adage that says that until the best drummer starts to drum in the, at the night square, the matured, the real good dancers, they don't get up. So you see when the small drummers are doing kitty, the main dancers, they'll be looking at them. But you see when the best drummer starts to band, then they get up to the rhythm. So the doctors and co-stars to stand up to show the younger ones that these are the steps that the father knows. If you look at the initiative by the federal government, I hope implementation is 100. First, let it be stated here. They plan to start to do this for free education from 2025. So if you walk into a technical school, you don't pay shin. You are registered once you say you are interested, and that goes. Then they are supposed to give them a monthly stipend of 45,000 naira, which is supposed to sustain them for feeding and, of course, accommodation, because they are aware that some people will come from far and wide to certain federal technical colleges, because it's the federal colleges that are affected. Then, of course, finally, the reversed curriculum. If you look at the reversed curriculum, like you said, you see why is the federal government interested? And I'm sorry, some school of thought say it's because it's affecting them. You talked about POP, that they are coming from Benin and Co. POPs have been falling. In fact, recently, a friend of mine that's an architect said 3 houses in Ikoyi, that they had to go there and fix it. Ijebu people, is it Ijebu or Ijesha? There's a particular tribe in Yoruba land that is known for doing very good finishing work when it comes to plastering and POPs. These people were removed and they started bringing these Benin boys. The POPs have been falling. They have been falling on people. And so right now, it's not looking like government now realizes that we need to build our own guys. If you look at the curriculum, there are certain things that are asking. They are looking at construction, they are looking at bricklaying, plumbing, woodwork, painting, furnishing. They are looking at makeup, catering. They are looking at automobile. I saw phone repair, panel beating, motorcycle repair, CGN engines. All these, if they are put together from the 26 works, in the next 4 years, we do not need anybody in Nigeria. We will have amazing artisans. If young people can walk into a technical college, you are not paying for it, you are being trained, and the trainings are things that we know are relevant. Now, when it comes...
Speak to people taking this advantage.
Yes, when it comes to artisans, let's state it here that all over the world, a lot of artisans are being needed. There was a US CEO that was talking about the fact that in his factories right now, they need to employ outsiders because so many people are not trying to learn skills anymore. Everybody's saying, oh, I'm into AI, I'm a content creator. Young people that used to come in and say, okay, I want to be a carpenter, I want to do woodwork. So right now, it's even graduates in their 30s and 40s that are now learning carpentry, woodwork, because they have a training institution in America for them. And when I was watching, I was like, okay, not be only Nigeria get the problem. It's good that the government is tackling it from the beginning, and let's get younger people who, okay, cannot afford university degrees. Let them have a skill, let them learn. Coming down to employability and the fact that what it's going to do for the economy is going to be fantastic for the economy. But as Doctor has said, please let us put teachers that know what they are doing. Bricklaying, let us give certified bricklayers who have built houses in Nigeria, who we know that the houses are standing. Not someone that will come and say, you see, when you put one block like this, you now put another block, you now put sand like this. I know how to do that thing. I've worked bricklayers.
You see, the actual issue here, the actual issue is the fact that there are a lot of things that many of us run away from. Take, for example, mathematics. A lot of people run away from mathematics, but mathematics is very critical to some of the things that we are doing. You're just talking about bricklaying. The percentage of sand to cement and to water is measured.
Yes.
So you're knowing that if I'm going to use a bag of cement,
I'll get
this is the quantum of sand I need, and this is the quantum of water I need to be able to deliver a certain level of work. That's some calculation, which many of us are not willing to get into. And of course, again, and you know, because these are issues also that require a lot of patience. And here, our body is hot. We don't have plenty of patience because some of all these things require a lot of patience. When you see steps that are made here, they are not of equal size.
Yes.
Because somebody is just using the head to gauge. To go and use a plumb to look at these things, that's waste of time. They just use eye to sight it. But in construction, that's not how it works. Everything is measured to cm, to mm.
You're right.
And then we're sure that everything is aligned, and they're aligning very well. I think that is what is actually missing. And that's why the bigger problem we have in this part of the world is finishing. When you do things and you finish them well.
Yes.
And that's what has been missing. But for us to be able to get into where we are, and that's why I'm calling on the Ministry of Education, that there's a whole lot that needs to be done. We need to take a lot of our children who are cerebral to places like China to study material engineering, which is the new skill in engineering, and develop them and bring them back home. Because writing the curriculum and putting it in the hands of the teachers that are not trained to deliver it will just be time wasting.
Yes, we need trained teachers.
Or resource wasting.
Yes.
So we need that government have to invest, even if it's to second some teachers who are pretty young, and send them overseas to develop capacity to be able to deliver this curriculum. We have to do it. Because you cannot give what you don't have.
Exactly. You can't give what you don't have. And if we are looking at this particular curriculum and saying that it has to succeed, then those that must push it, just like the table have said, they have to know what exactly they are doing. Let's go to our last story for today. It has to be a very short one. For those that are wondering, Ghana is up in the news. Yes, you heard me. Now, Ghana has, as we speak, Ghana has agreed to receive West African nationals deported from the United States in a move aimed at fostering regional solidarity. Now, mark that regional solidarity because I don't understand that yet. And understanding and supporting smooth reintegration for citizens of the sub-region. President John Dramani Mahama explained that the decision reflects Ghana's commitment to West Africa's free movement framework, which allows nationals to travel and reside across member states without visa restriction. The government has already facilitated the safe arrival of 14 returnees, including Nigerians and a Gambian, and working to ensure they were assisted in reconnecting with their respective home countries. Okay, now let's stop here. Why? Okay. Some weeks ago, the United States tried getting Nigeria to accept some criminal elements that were in their jail from cartel SOUQ countries. And the federal government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said, no, we're not going to do that. Now we are seeing this happening and Ghana taking, in quotes, that's what they're telling us, 14 deportees. They are not telling us where they are from, whether they are normal, regular deportees or people from the prison services. Why are nations finding it difficult to take their own people? Why is the United States sending deportees to specific places where those people are not from?
Well, there's nothing that a debtor will not hear now. I think it's
Doc, please come straight. Come straight. Come straight.
It's not United States. Ghana is asking for it because it comes with some perks and some advantages. Wow. So I think that's what you are looking out for. It's not the first time. You remember that, of course, the same thing happened between Rwanda and the United Kingdom, although that was now aborted by the new government in the United Kingdom. And of course, they were willing to take all the people, whether those in asylum or those who were in criminal elements, and said they were ready to take them.
And build a facility for them.
As long as United Kingdom
was
is paying money to us. I think about that. That said, I think African leaders must be careful on the kind of deals that they get into. You see, as we speak right now, there's even a diplomatic row between Nigeria and Ghana. See, recently there were protests in Ghana asking Nigerians to leave. John has not said anything about it officially. And now he's accepting everybody from all parts of West Africa because there's an ECOWAS treaty that says that there's free movement around. So you can see that it's beyond the ECOWAS free movement, but the opportunity that are likely to come from it from the United States or America. And I don't think that that's what Africans should be known for. I think as Africans, we must learn to do things properly, that we have the business of governing our people and create value within a system. And then, of course, then we can begin to negotiate very well deals that will favor the people. If Americans can't handle their criminal elements, why are they bringing them to West Africa with lesser capacity? And these are questions that we need to ask. If they have become a thorn in their flesh, why are you singling out an underdeveloped country to say, okay, they are the one best fit to manage it? So I think it's just the fact that when you are poor, like the story of Esau and Jacob in the Bible, you negotiate on empty stomach. A pot of porridge, you either eat it and sell your birthright or you die. So it's a fundamental problem in the developing world, the kind of agreement that we get into, just to be able to look good in the face of the West. And I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, SOUQ, one last one.
Okay, so there's a school of thought who has been asking why Ghana is the headquarters for the African Continental Free Zone area. They bring the least population, their raw materials are not good enough. And so you can see that from this. I'm just telling you, they are trying to defend why.
Okay.
Because they seem to be like the petted last child. Any big organization, Oracle wants to start something, they go to Ghana, and a lot of African countries are asking, at the end of the day, you need our population, you need our monies, you need our raw materials. What is in this Ghana that you are putting in? So when something like this, good, forget that word. So when something like this comes up, and Ghana now says, oh, we are embracing all Africans, then they are defending why all these extra monies and why the European nations seem to be petting them so much. So that's what I see it as. I see it as the rich uncle whose child is misbehaving, and he takes him to the village and gives him to the poor younger brother that is living in the father's house. He has allowed him to live and say, let him stay with you, let him know how village life is. And of course, that one will come and corrupt your children, because all the nonsense he has learned from Lagos and US, your children that are here, everything he's telling you, teach them how to go for parties, how to sneak out through the window. And so that's what's going to happen at the end of the day. But congratulations to Ghana. There's a Nigerian involved there. They said one Nigerian is among them. So that's laudable.
You should come back home.
It's not difficult. Put him in the night bus.
You should come back home.
His people
drive from Ghana.
His people wait for him in Badagry. You don't need to bother yourself. Thank you very much for being part of SBL today. Remember, you can be part and join the conversation. It must not end when the program itself ends. So, hey, just go to SOUQ TV. Follow us and join this conversation. Have yourself a beautiful weekend. And remember, be nice to yourself and love your neighbor the way you love yourself. My name is SOUQ. John Rogers SOUQ. We'll do this again on Monday.
All right, so I always tell you that the weekends are a time for you to relax, breathe in, breathe out, go for parties uninvited, and just have a good time, because health is wealth. Buy Nigerian, be Nigerian. My name is Swift Aderi. Have a beautiful weekend.
Doc.
It was a pleasure here through the week. Loving what I see, loving what I hear. And I'm believing that Nigeria is getting better.
Amen.
And it will be a great country in our own time.
Amen.
Stay tuned. We are always here to serve you better. Follow our social medias, our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Make your comments. We will respond. Osama Zaid outside smiling.
Thank you very much. One of us, the knight himself, Olumide Shokoya, if you remember that beautiful program, there is this Shokoya guy, but he is the chief himself. The knight will be getting married, and from all of us here in SBL and we in SOUQ News, Television, and the iRadio, we wish you a blissful ceremony and a beautiful marriage. And we'll be there to dance the dance and bring the lady home. So
gay.
And eat the jollof rice.
And eat the jollof, very important, and the ice cream. Yes.
No. Ice cream, no.
So for everyone out there, have yourself a very beautiful weekend.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market, or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Arton Kane. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
When Emeka talks about black gold, he isn't referring to oil. He buys it in sacks, not barrels. He sells it from a metal shack to customers in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. Charcoal is big business in Africa. He says there's enough money in the charcoal trade to make the wealthy envious in several African countries. Charcoal has fueled Africa's urbanization. It is energy dense and difficult to regulate, much like the cities it powers. Despite concerns about pollution, deforestation, and illicit money flows, charcoal remains indispensable. In this special report, written by Bayo Olaoye, he explored the value of Africa's charcoal economy, estimated to be worth billions of dollars, and assesses its viability. Nearly 200 million Africans cook primarily with charcoal, including 27% of urban dwellers. That share has grown since 1960, replacing much of its previous reliance on firewood. If there's been an African energy transition, it has been from one type of wood fuel to another. Charcoal's appeal lies in its convenience. By weight, it contains nearly twice as much energy as the wood it's derived from, making it easier to transport and ideal for megacities with fragile infrastructure. In Kinshasa, a Congolese metropolis of 18 million people, almost everyone cooks with it. Never before have cities grown so large while relying so heavily on wood-based fuel. In rural Africa, tens of millions of people make charcoal using earth kilns, outnumbering the world's coal miners. The process involves heating wood under low oxygen conditions to remove moisture and volatile gases. Logs and branches are stacked in a pile, covered with grass and soil, and burned for several days. This yields 1 to 2 tons of charcoal from 10 tons of dry wood. The process emits more carbon than simply burning the wood. Much of the raw wood is free, harvested from farmers' own land or from forests. Many charcoal producers are farmers selling to traders when in need of cash. Others are entrepreneurs who bring in work teams, distribute chainsaws, and pay off landowners or local chiefs. Locals often complain about outsiders cutting down their trees. In Kenya and Uganda, vigilantes have even attacked charcoal trucks. Africa's charcoal trade is estimated to be worth tens of billions of dollars, possibly more than the continent earns from cocoa or coffee. The money trail often leads to soldiers or government officials. The United Nations Security Council banned charcoal exports from Somalia because jihadists were earning millions by exporting it to the Gulf, where shisha smokers prize the aroma of acacia wood. Charcoal production leaves destruction in its wake. In Mozambique's Mabalane district, 2/3 of the woodland was affected by charcoal harvesting in the decade leading to 2018, according to one study. To mitigate the damage, governments oscillate between legalizing the trade through licensing and forest management and banning it outright. Sudden bans, however, often fuel a black market. Enforcement becomes a chaotic negotiation involving traders, officials, police, soldiers, and local communities. Lorry drivers move at night and pay bribes to checkpoints. In Uganda, where charcoal production is banned, it's smuggled across the border and transported under official seals from South Sudan. Other policies promote clean cooking. Liquid petroleum gas, LPG, which burns cleaner than charcoal, is exempted from VAT in Kenya. Some companies have introduced metered gas canisters so consumers can pay as they go, easing upfront costs. Today, more than half of urban Kenyans use LPG as their main cooking fuel. Bond Manufacturing, a company known for efficient stoves, has stopped selling its charcoal models and now promotes electric stoves subsidized by carbon credits. Experts say charcoal is on the decline in Kenya. though it remains prevalent in countries like Madagascar and Zambia, where alternatives are limited. Phasing out charcoal will have economic consequences. The trade is informal and decentralized, while gas is distributed through large firms and creates fewer jobs. Charcoal provides roughly 275 workdays per terajoule consumed, compared with 95 for electricity and 15 for LPG. Gas imports also strained foreign currency reserves. For now, most consumers juggle multiple energy sources. Charcoal production in Africa is still growing at about 2% annually. But one thing is clear: as long as there is the ghetto, there will always be charcoal. I'm Moyosore Adebi for SOUQ News TV.
Well, thank you once again for inviting me over. What would I say? Just doing a lot of wonderful things all over the world, working towards development of humanity in the areas of most especially sports development, football management, football administration, and other businesses I'm involved in. So that's what I've been up to. Well, basically, the National Sports Commission is there to ensure that sports development is put in the proper perspective. There are a lot of papers, a lot of policy papers, a lot of things that have been put in place. So they need to go into it, look at it, and structure something positive out for the development of sports in the country. I'm sure they have all what it takes to do it, and the zeal and the power to go ahead and put those things in place. So that's basically what they need to do. How the implementation is key. And I know, well, one way or the other, they should have the wherewithal to do it. So I wish them all the best. Well, you see, I don't like criticizing. I think I've gone away from areas of criticizing. But the standard of the league is very poor. And they have to put all efforts together to improve on the league. Also, the technicalities of the game, the manpower. We have to, we're still doing what we practiced 15 to 10 years ago. So it's not changed. So all those things have to change. We have to go away from the mediocre ways of running the game and put in more investment in development of the game itself. In the clubs have to be, it's so sad that we in Nigeria prefer to watch the Premier League compared to the Nigerian Premier League. It's a sad story. I remember 40 years ago, you could go to the stadium and watch our local, amateur league, and there were standards. So there's no reason why we can't bring that back. It's the wherewithal, the willpower to do it, and the stem from, having to go away from the area of mediocrity, where we bring in professionalism. We have the people that can do it, without any doubt. But for the system to allow them come in and do those things is another question. How that is going to be done, we've talked about it for many years, but nothing has been done about it. I pray and I hope someday they'll put up the proper perspective and the willpower to do those things. When it comes to grassroots football, we really have to start with kids from a very early age. We must have we have to start with them from age 5 to 16, to 18, to 20. So you have to have a sequence, a system where you build around from the very younger ones, and you have a uniform structure. Number one, we have to identify the kind of football we want to play in Nigeria, our type of flow, our ethos, what we want to play. And then we can now imbibe that, put it in our kids from a very early age. So from age 5, you go under 5 to under 8, under 8 to under 12, under 12 to under 16, under 16 to under 18. You have those structures in place, and it's spread around the nation. Now, where it's not the under 5 or under 18 where you put a 20-year-old or 25-year-old. We have to have a system where those kids are registered and we can monitor them from a very early age. You understand me? Where we don't cheat, where we bring in the right age and we train them to perform at different age group levels. And going into from there and then going into the national sides, so we can start playing the under 10, under 15, or under 16, under 18. You understand me? So those structures have to be in place, which we don't have today. There must be uniformity. You understand? So if we can do that in the future, we will progress. But there must be a system in place. We must have coaches that have been trained to work with the kids from that very early age. And those coaches are trained within the system, within the Nigerian Football Federation, and then they're sent out to work with those children all over the nation. The football academies we have today are only out to sell players. You understand me? So what I'm saying here is where we have, I'm not saying academies shouldn't sell players or not. Those players in the academies, if we have uniformity, should be playing in the league. And then we must have a cap where we say, look, until you're a certain age, you can't leave the country. You must play in that league because we've invested in you. We've invested in those kids. So maybe they will have to play till they're 20 or 18 or 19 where they can now go out, you understand, to play abroad. But there must be a structure in place and there must be laws guiding it. That's the only way we can excel. It also goes to it also goes back to what I've been saying. The girls, the female team in Nigeria today, I believe the girls, I call them girls or ladies, are the ones that will ever win the World Cup first. They got the capacity, they got the women football, they can win the World Cup. They've got what it takes. But then it now goes back to our attitude and the corruption in the system. You understand me? If you allow the other girls from a very early age develop, and you have the same system I'm talking about, that cap of under 5, under 8, under 10, and you structure and you do it continuously in uniformity, we will be world beaters. We will win the World Cup at any given time because the women have got the grit. They pick up very faster than our army. They tap the balls. They are more technically better, within that range. So, but it's for us to develop those things and to take away corruption. First, when we talk about indigenous coaches, what coaches do we have? If you don't have a competitive league, a highly professional league, how do you want to get good coaches? You can't get good coaches. The coaches, it's not that we don't have the capacity to build good coaches. We have a lot of talents in this country that can be world beaters, that could be top coaches. I talk to young stars. Young stars will talk to you about the technicality of the game. They're very bright. Even my son, when he talks to me about football, I think he knows the game better than I do today. The technicalities of the game, you understand me? The formations, how players play back and forth. It's because you've given them the exposure. And we need to give our young stars that exposure. We need to develop them. That's what we're not doing. We have to invest in them. But for now, we have not done that. And what we're doing today is those bunch of coaches we have are not good enough to run the national team at that level of competition. I have one or two of them in America that are sound. They're there. But how many of them can you bring into the system? You understand me? Our local coaches, We need
National Institute of Sports.
Now, please, let's forget about the National Institute of Sports. That I use a word has been alarmalized. That's a very poor system. You know, it has nothing. We have nothing there. I'm serious. I'm not running anything. Our National Sports Institute is a disgrace. So we shouldn't be talking about that. Yeah. If you want to talk about a National Sports Institute, then you go to Australia and other countries and you see what it is. You see the standards. We don't have those things. Ours is archaic.
Is it beyond redemption?
There's nothing beyond redemption. It can be, you know, we can work on it. We can develop it. We'll just have a time frame, work around it. See, there's nothing we cannot do in this country. We got everything possible to do it. It's the wherewithal. Do we have that mindset to do it? Are we ready for it? Those are the things we have to look at. Or do we want to continue with our mediocrity? But really, sincerely speaking, there's nothing impossible. We can do anything here. We've got great youngsters. We have to remove all this old, archaic way of thinking and then bring in a more modern, professional approach to things. So that's it. The media is one of the most corrupt anyway, I'm sorry to say. The sports media and all that, the sports writers. I worked in the system, I know how corrupt they are. Majority of them are corrupt. I'm saying it. They can challenge me, but it's the truth. Until we get rid of all those things, where our boys go and collect envelopes to write or favor people, we're not going to get anywhere. I'm not saying the press, but the sports writers are a disgrace. See, the supporters club is not going to do anything or develop football. This is just to travel, get things. Oh, it's fine. It's good to have fans. But what has that got to do with football development? Nothing. Supporters club is not going to do anything. They're playing their own politics. You understand me? They want to travel. That's it. Travel around the world, do things. But is that part of football development? That is not football development. So let's leave that aside. We're talking about the professional, the technicalities, what it takes to develop national sides or a proper league. Then the supporters club has nothing to do with it. Do you see, how many people do you see at stadiums in Nigeria instead of watching football? Scanty, there's nothing. It's not like in the days where in the 70s or even in the 60s, if you're going to play a game at 4:45 in the afternoon, the stadium is full to capacity at 11 in the morning. You don't have that anymore. So what are we talking about supporters club?
Is there a way we can bring that back, that passion?
Yeah, if you build a league that, you know, has the quality, the professionalism, and all the standards are put in place, then you can bring them back. Then you can bring the crowd back. I think it's very unfair to call it lesser sports. All sports are tops. Yeah, it's very wrong to call them. They're top sports. Basketball is tops. Athletics is tops. It's very wrong. I think it's very unfair to call them lesser sports. See, bottom line is the politics, the greed. You understand me? We have top talented basketball players all over the world. We can put them together. It's all about management. It's all about commitment. But you don't have those things there. It's about myself. It's all about self-aggrandization. What do I get from this? It's not about what do we do to build these teams or these athletes to be world beaters. Do you understand me? So you're not going to get anything out of it. You will never. It's the bottom line. You'll never ever get anything. So you'll always have factions, you'll always have people fighting. Why do you fight for what? If you can collectively come together to build a system, a structure for basketball, for example, because the girls are tops, they can perform, they can do far better than where they are today. I always tell you, the female teams are in Nigeria will always excel in athletics, in basketball and all that. Our male are a bit arrogant and clunky in doing things, but the ladies are always more committed. They've got what it takes, but they need good management. It's not that the men can't do it too, the men can do it, but it all also evolves with good management. Taking away politics, taking away greed, not a situation where a coach is collecting money from a player to put a player in the team, or a member of the football association fighting for their children or family to play in the national team, or a member of government is asking someone to put their kids in the team. No, that's not it. Where is the nationalism? Where's that patriotism? Patriotism. I don't care where you come from. If you're good, you're good. If you're better than my own people, then my own people have to sit down and you let them, the others that can perform. Where would you have quota system in football? Where's that done? Do you understand me? So we have a lot of issues we need to resolve. Well, what do you expect? The athletes themselves are far more successful and far more exposed than the administrators. So the administrators obviously are always envious of those ones, and they make life difficult for them. Do you understand me? Where you have people that are not competent enough running a system, people that are not exposed, that haven't got the professional ethics to run the thing, that's what you get. Then the greed aspect, which is a standard norm for us in this country. Greed. Where people believe athletics is only, you being a member of the Athletics Federation is all about traveling. You understand me? He wants to travel, she wants to travel. She wants to be in the, in the group of people that are going away. See, you can never get no results. They're all fighting to get something. And then they don't care about the athletes. They want to be in a delegation that is going to travel. Do you understand me? So that's basically it. They're not interested in the development. They haven't got the zeal. You understand me, sir? So once you don't have those things, you can never get anything right. Yeah, the private sector is one. The cricket has more because, government involvement is not as, I think you have more of the private people, interested private people that have gone to schools, top schools, that played cricket in those days. Those are the ones that are promoting cricket. So you're going to get results, you understand me? Because they're far more exposed, they understand what it takes. So the commitment is there. They're using their own funds to push, to develop the game. You understand sports. So that's why cricket is picking up. Oh, you mean the National Sports Festival? I think for now we don't really need that. We need to do more with the private sector. I think the new chairman of the National Sports Commission, it seems he's an exposed person. I think he's got to sit right and see how he can profile solutions to these things and change the course of. He's got what it takes to do it. He just has to come out of that shell, come out of that darkness. I'll call it darkness, come into real light. I think he has it. But National Sports Festival, I don't think we're ready. We really need that now. We need to do more with youth development programs. You see, a National Sports Festival in those days was more interesting because you had more schools, inter-school sports. And that is where the best athletes came from. We don't have that anymore. So first we need to build the school sports, schools, athletics and all that, build it to a standard and then go into national sports festivals. For now, We don't have that. And I think the National Sports Commission has to look into that, how they can work with the Ministry of Education and see how they can build that again. School sports. That's where you get the best. In those days, the best athletes. We knew those that will run, that will actually participate and run for Nigeria. We knew the ones that will do high jump, long jump, triple jump. We knew them, both female and females, from secondary school. You don't have that anymore. So where do they come from? Nowhere. So you have, like in those days where some schools will go and get mercenaries, pay for them to come and run. That's what you get today. So it's corrupt. Now, the Sports Commission has to work on that. It has to change it. I know they can do it. They just need to sit back and look at how they will change the course of things. If you want to unite Nigeria with good sports, then you got to give them good results, good teams that can perform. You understand me? In the process of winning competitions, or they have a team, or they have teams that have got the quality that can move the nation, then you unite. Everybody wants to watch good football. Everybody wants to see a great athlete running. You want to see a good high jumper performing at the best. When you see that, it draws everybody together. If you have a good national team that plays excellent football, look, in Nigeria, when you look at our team, the 94 team, we were the 5th in world ranking. You were talking about ranking, which I don't really. When we really had a good ranking, we were number 5 in the world. The 94 team was number 5. The World Cup 94, we were rated as the 5th best team in the world. And you look at the style of football we played. We developed our own style of football, took it to the world, and we were respected. We don't do that anymore. We have to have an identity. You understand me? Our footballers are not the best. We're good, we're very athletic, we're strong, we're physical. You understand me? We've got to build that kind of football. We are not as technical when it comes to techniques and all that, like the Europeans. But when it comes to the physicality, you understand me, we're better. When it comes to the physicality, the mental strength, we have it. So you have to build around that. You're putting a bit of technical things there, but the main issues is we've got to have the muscles, the strength to run any team down. That's the kind of football we should play. We're playing lazy football now. We have to play what we played then, where we run any team down. We can play 2-3 hours non-stop. We never get tired. We don't have that anymore. We can't even string passes. We can't play 2 against 4, 3 against. We don't do it anymore. We're lazy. It's not only the coach. Yeah, the coach, and then the association, the federation. They don't have a vision. You have to know what you want to present to the world. It's like any other top team in the world. In Real Madrid, Barcelona, they have their own type ethos, their own style of football. And this is what they sell to the world. We don't even know what we're doing. We have to have what it takes to sell to the world. This is what we want to do. This is how we can perform. This is the style we're going to play. And that style we believe in. And then we build the youngsters from very early to play that same type of football. We have the manual that we can work with. Uniformity. Simple. That's it. No, it's individual and the corporate organizations. They're not doing enough. Everything can't just be government. Today, you don't even have Nigerians pumping money into sports like they used to do that. I'm sorry, I don't want to digress, and I don't want to say what my father did. I'm not promoting my family, but I knew how he invested millions of dollars building the national teams. Yeah, his personal funds. You don't get those things anymore. Do you understand me? You have to see the '94 team was done outside the outside government. It was done by individuals. That was why we were successful. But you don't have those things anymore. You just have a bunch of greedy leaders and greedy individuals or corporate bodies. It's all about them and their family. They're not giving it. So how do you want the kids to perform? How? All the kids are out there wasting away. We've got great talents in this country, but they're wasting away because we're not helping out. We're not encouraging them. We're not building structures, institutions where you can build those, you can develop those kids. Yeah. So they're on the street doing yahoo, doing all sorts of stupid things. Yeah. Because there's no competition. There's nothing to draw their attention. You understand me? Until we do those things, we can never ever change. We can't get it right. Yeah, well, for me, I don't see any difference for me, whatever you give to the female teams, you also give to the senior, to men. Because our team, our female team, at the world ranking today, we're tops, we're recognized. So you have to also allow, but for men, anywhere in the world, men always have an advantage. But doesn't mean the disparity should be so much. You give the ladies, I remember when I was the FA chairman, I remember once the female team was in camp, and we went there in Ota. When we found out what they were earning, it was disgraceful. You couldn't buy their, I'm sorry to say that, what you ladies use, your pads, you couldn't even buy it. I had to tell them, these are women. Why are you treating them like rubbish? They have to be looked after. Because they're going to need more of those systems, because you have more wastage than men. Don't let me go into what I'm saying, but I understand. So the women have to be well taken care of. Yeah, simple. So you've got to give them what it takes. To strike a balance. You have to strike a balance. Solutions I'm going to give you, I can't give you a straight off head, right? But really, since first, we have to get rid of greed. We have to go away from all this religiosity in the system, because religion has destroyed the fabrics of a nation. See, being a Christian or a Muslim or whatever doesn't mean you've got to cheat people or lie to people or not show love. You understand me? Or the religious, when I come to religion, the churches, the institutions we have today are not developing education. There must be uniformity in education. They're not developing education. Education is key. But you know what we have today? Half-baked educated youths. Half-baked. And that's the worst you can ever have. And that is key in anything we do. First, to have good leaders, well-structured. In Germany, in Europe, and now, the kids that go to the best universities, some kids are developed, they're built up to the top civil servants. So they go to Oxford, they go to Cambridge, they become top politicians. Then you have the ones that will become big and top engineers, and they go to certain universities. All those things are structured. We had it before in the past. It's gone. We've got to find the way. It's not about just giving licenses to universities. But for me, the foundation, education, is very key. When you have half-baked youths and you have half-baked leaders that haven't got that structure in place, that proper education, they can never excel. What are you going to tell them? They will never get it right. So that's very key. Now, when you talk about policies, who are the ones that are going to put the policy papers together if they're half-baked? Because you need policy papers, you need to have a better understanding of your environment, of the society. You have to have a better understanding of how the society will grow. So if you don't have that in mind, you can never develop. So you need those things to make the nation change. I'm just giving it in a nutshell. Yeah, you need more commercial, you need more private sector funding, you need more sponsorship, and then, like I said, you need more training. You need to train your coaches. Our referees are the most Nigerian referees. You don't see. Do you see any referee participating in any African Nations Cup? No. Because, and you're telling me it's the best league. That's the most corrupt league in the world. Because our coaches are not even, our referees are not even allowed. They never invite them for any Nations Cup. So what are we talking about? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Every match in the MPFL, most times, most of the games, all home teams win. You don't see away teams coming to win. So are you telling me that's a balanced league? It's not a balanced league. It's a corrupt league. So that has to change first. When that changes, you understand me? And also, then other things will follow. You see, you have the National Olympic Committee that is run, by the private sector and government. Now you need to get the right people in the private sector to come in there to work with some people in government, people that have got the wherewithal, that got the financial muscle and the commitment to do those things. Not just people that are hustlers that just want to get something out of it. It's about people that want to give. That's what Olympics is all about. People that give, that are ready to give, to develop Olympians to be world beaters. People that truly want that mood, that soul of Olympics to excel. That's what we need. And that is what we have to work on. And that comes from leadership, that comes from the system, where you choose the right people that have got what it takes to build the Olympic team.
Nigeria, rich in traditional and cultural heritage, is intentional about promoting history and retaining cultural values. The country has succeeded in preserving its identities and that of the forefathers for ages through folklores, folk tales, traditional ceremonies, community-based initiatives, cuisine, and most notably, museums and cultural centers. These institutions serve as invaluable repositories of history, ensuring that future generations remain connected to their roots and appreciate the diverse cultural tapestry of the nation. In Nigeria, there are over 38 museums comprising national, state, and privately owned institutions scattered across the country. Each of these museums plays a crucial role in safeguarding Nigeria's vast historical wealth, with collections that reflect the uniqueness of different ethnic groups, traditional practices, and historical transitions over time. In Lagos, the National Museum, located at the center of the city in Onikon, claims a notable collection of Nigerian art, including pieces of statuary, carvings, archaeological and ethnographical exhibits, among others. Of particular significance is the terracotta human head, known as Jema head, dated between 900 and 200 BC, which is part of the renowned Nok culture. The piece is named after Jema, the village where it was discovered. The museum is administered by the National Commission for Museums and Monuments and remain a key educational and historical attractions for visitors. Another prominent artifact housed within the museum is the famous Benin bronze head, an evidence to the artistic excellence of the Benin Kingdom.
The museum has a lot of functions, some of which are to educate, to entertain, research, interpretation, conservation and preservation of our cultural heritage. And then the museum was established, Lagos Museum particularly, was established in 1957. It was formerly referred to as Department of Antiquities. So, well, the journey so far has been interesting because, we are here, to showcase our cultural heritage, not just to the country, but to the world. And we've had, we have series of, events that we do, that involve the community. And because of that, we create that awareness that this is where you can come and, see and feel your cultural heritage, your traditions, your history. Because it is said that a people without a history is a people without identity. So the museum portrays this to the people. And over the years, that is what we've been doing. Through education, community participation, we have galleries, that we display some of our objects, our antiquities, that showcase our patrimony and all there is to know about our cultural inheritance. And so the museum, has been doing that over the years, and, we still keep doing more.
The Lagos National Museum was founded in July 1957 by English archaeologist Kenneth Murray, following the submission of textural sketch in 1948 at a conference on museum policy in Nigeria. Kenneth Murray collected several traditional masks from Cross River State to display in the museum's early years, according to historical records. The primary purpose of structuring the museum was to preserve Nigeria's historical artifacts and cultural heritage. Fortunately, that vision has remained alive to this day. The museum serves as a significant tourist attraction for Lagos residents and international visitors alike, offering an immersive glimpse into the nation's past. Some of the remarkable artifacts currently on display at the museum include the bullet-ridden car in which former Nigerian head of state, General Murtala Muhammad, was assassinated, pictures of previous rulers and presidents of Nigeria from different eras, a diverse collection of cultural drums, tools, and ceremonial staffs from various ethnic groups, historical crowns and caps of revered traditional rulers symbolizing their power and authority, photographs of Queen Elizabeth II and her entourage during her visit to Nigeria, reflecting moments of colonial history.
It's so immense. Museum is a reminder of what the society is all about, because a number of us are missing the link. We don't even know the role, the significance of the society we find ourselves because of foreign influence. But when you come to museum, it will bring your mind back to the original habitat, the way of life of people, how things should be seen in the society, and how we should react to phenomenal changes in our environment. Basically, we'll be doing this work of educating the general public, not only Nigerians, over 20-something years here, and the impact has been so tremendous, to the point that what we do at the museum is in consonance with the curriculum of our institutions, from primary, nursery, primary, secondary, even tertiary, even people in their corporate organization. They deem me free to come to National Museum anytime they feel like we are missing the link, we have missed a lot of things concerning the way of life of our forefathers. Even here, apart from that, we do have what is called seminar. We organize seminar for expatriates, for individuals. They come around on Wednesdays to come and listen and learn on cultural-based subjects.
I think it's great. I mean, I particularly like the circle of life that are presented in here, right? From birth to reincarnation to external influences. I think I gave a good history of Nigeria. I learned a lot about that. There seems to be some real big connection between Nigeria and Benin in terms of the history that I wasn't totally aware of. I was able to see the different artifacts and stuff that were presented. So it was quite interesting. They did, I think, a pretty good job doing a comprehensive tour or comprehensive history of Nigeria and its culture and its surrounding areas.
A visit to the Lagos National Museum offers an enriching experience, transporting visitors back in time and allowing them to connect with Nigeria's rich and diverse history. The museum provides an opportunity to explore stories of resilience, artistry, and governance that have shaped the nation. Whether you are a history enthusiast a student, or simply a curious traveler, stepping into this museum promises a nostalgic journey through Nigeria's past, fostering a deeper appreciation for its cultural legacy. Nigeria continues to reflect the stories that shapes its people, steadfast in its commitment to promoting history and preserving its cultural values for generations to come. Grace Komalafe, SOUQ Perspective.
In 1957, just a greenhorn leaving school and looking for a job, going into broadcasting was something that I dreamt of. But that's only meant going into radio, because my old school, Holy Child College, still on the same site in Obalende, 2 streets away from the old NBC. I still can't forgive whoever changed the name to something else that is being called now FRCN. Because if the BBC remains BBC 100 years after the founding fathers, dreamt of starting television, radio from, all the war years and learning a bit from America. It all started from America. Because we were taught about all this. Every time they took us from school to take part in, school's debates on radio, we just walked across. It's all in Obalende and Ikoyi, Balende/Ikoyi. So I dreamt of doing something along the line. And then one of my teachers left us high and dry and went to be a newsreader on radio. Marie Tabio, who later became Mrs. Irikefe. Then we had people like Tung Adedoyin and SOUQ. We used to listen to them on radio on the old, you wouldn't know anything about that now, the rediffusion. It was just, a little box in your home, and everybody looked forward to either listening to the 7 o'clock news in the morning or 6 o'clock or 7 in the evening. So that was all really all I had to do with broadcasting. And who was going to take me there was another matter altogether. Who would take you, little 16, 17-year-old girl, into broadcasting? But one had been bitten by the bug then. So, and only God knows where whatever dream you had was going to lead to. We read poetry, we did radio show, stage shows in school. Catholic schools were very good for that. And my old school, just celebrating 150 years of its existence, just down the road from here on Broad Street. The nuns, they were all white nuns. No Nigerian nuns at the time that we were growing up. So all the dream they had, this kind of dream that we have now, going to England, but they were coming here to teach us. So I had learnt a lot of poetry, I had taken part in Festival of Arts, and I had gone to, the biggest hall we had then was at King's College, which is also down the road. Means of transportation was your SS foot. No BRT, no bicycles or whatever. So we did it all just walking around and learning from our teachers. And of course, our mentors were the nuns, like I said. So in my wildest dream, there was no way that I was thinking of going into anything like broadcasting. That is going back to answer your question. But they had a lot of plans for the girl child. And not along the religious lines now. But actually, they came to actually engender
this whole idea of pushing the girl child forward. And not just me, a lot of us, people like Mrs. Francesca Emanuel, they also went through the whole gamut of all this dream that I'm talking about. Television itself was brand new in the world. I have to talk about radio because that was what I knew as a child. But television, when it started, we didn't even know. Maybe in America, and then it went to Australia, and then to France. No. France came after Nigeria. You wouldn't believe that, would you? That we were number 6. America, Britain, Germany, Australia, one other country, and coming now home to Nigeria, where you cannot help but give a lot of credit to the dreams of people like late Chief Obafemi Awolowo and one of his ministers then, Chief Anthony Enahoro. So that's how I believe this whole package was placed on their laps and sold to Nigeria, to the Western Nigeria government. On the radar were lots of other people like me who had dreams about becoming Miss Nigeria. So maybe that will now give you a little background about how I took part in the Miss Nigeria pageant, Western Nigeria, and I became Miss Western Nigeria. Somebody must have fine-tuned some little knots somewhere and said, okay, you probably might be able to deliver. Because you are being interviewed when you go before the panel of judges, and somebody must have said, okay, that's a good material, you can come and take part in this. Before then, we had other people, Anike Agbaje Williams, Oliola Sokwe, who were working on radio. My dream was to work in radio, but then I missed that. And I was nursing, that dream of still going to radio. Never knew what television was all about. So maybe that answers your question, I'm not sure. But I took part in the Miss Western Nigeria pageant and I won. Took part in the Miss Nigeria contest and came second. So that meant that I didn't win. And if one of the, maybe the prize was to go on TV, it wasn't even there. It wasn't written into the, program that whoever did this, but the person was going to go to England. And so Helena Yemeluna, who won that contest, went to London and fulfilled her own dream. But I was still biting my nails, waiting for when I'll be able to get a job. There were other things that girls could do. You could be a nurse, you could be a teacher, you could be an assistant, a dental assistant. All those were things that young ladies, can, fulfill their dreams along those lines. They're still there. You still have young ladies. Mrs. Muritala Muhammad, the first time I met her, she was a dental assistant. Little did we know that her husband was going to be the head of state and she would be first. So you see, lots of things were there for the young girl who wanted to learn, who had the talent, and who wanted to perform, and who wanted to work hard. But now I don't know if girls want to work hard. All they want is, the table to be set, and then they come and, partake of whatever is there. It wasn't too difficult at the time that I was picked as one of the people to come and appear on WNTV. The audition was actually carried out before my time. I got involved in so many other things, trying to get a job, something to secure, something, to alleviate poverty. There was not too much poverty in Nigeria at the time because people could still make a living for themselves and, get by in society. But I was lucky that I had an aunt who was
a nurse in the hospital in Ibadan, UCH in Ibadan. And she was married to an Englishman, and the man's friend happened to have been the man, Mr. Mathers, who was brought as one of the technical partners to WNTV. So we met at a dinner party, and just as you and I are chatting, I was only 18 plus. I was 17 when I took part in the pageant. But by this time, I was growing up, and I thought I was a big girl. So I opened my mouth, and I said a few things. And the man looked at me and said, how come you are not speaking with a Nigerian accent? And I didn't know what he meant, because we were taught at St. Mary's to deliver whatever lines we were given to deliver. The Festival of Arts, I came second after an English boy from Corona School. And I was given a beating for coming second. Not because I didn't perform well, but because I forgot to curtsy. And one of the judges, I think, who was then Mrs. Abayomi, Lady Abayomi, said that I delivered my lines very well. If I were the Lord of Tartary, I would do this and that and the other. So I came second. And when I got back to the school, the nun, Sister Marieta, said, you were not paying attention. So whatever you do in life, you have to be consistent. You have to perform well. The way we're trying to do now, the way we're trying to project your voice and whatever it is you have to offer with a lot of humility, not trying to show off or to project your own image, or whatever message you have to deliver, you have to make sure that it is well delivered. The following year, St. Mary's Convent School, which is my old school, which is 150 years old in existence, went to the same King's College Hall, and we beat a lot of secondary schools. We came first. Pied Piper of Hamelin. Have you ever heard of that poetry? Pied Piper of Hamelin was about someone who wanted to get rid of all the rats in Europe. And all he did was to play the pipe. So that is what we were more or less doing. That's what you and I have felt. Being a Pied Piper, trying to get off all the ills in society. That's the main job of a broadcaster. There's so many things happening in the country, and it's only TV and radio that binds the country together. If the country falls apart tomorrow, you will rely on someone from radio or from television to make the announcement, to introduce the head of state who has just won the election, or the one who has just taken over. It's a huge responsibility. At that age, at 19, we had to introduce people like Chief Obafemi Awolowo on TV. We had to introduce people like Akintola, Oladoke Akintola, as the premier. And when everything broke down and it all went into smithereens, they brought in Chief Majekodumi as the administrator of the Western region. All this happening before our eyes. There were no other stations in the country except WNTV. And we were there, so we learned quite a lot. In fact, I believe that the whole country revolves around broadcasting. And if you are part of that organization, how would you feel at my age, at 80-something? As young people, perhaps you don't know all this history that I'm telling you about. It's a long, long story. But when you sit down, you have to put it all into perspective. You see that, well, some people are actually meant to be in different positions. Some people are meant to be doctors. Some people are meant to be nurses. But those of us that are in broadcasting, it's a huge responsibility. It's a passion. Something. Sometimes you don't even know how you got there in the first place. Or somebody may have discovered you. It's like being in Hollywood in those days. Someone has to develop. So you have the talent, the latent talent, and then somebody will discover you. So that's how I was discovered by Mr. Mathers at a dinner. I was put in that place because I had won the Miss Western Nigeria contest. If I hadn't done that, I probably would be somewhere in the kitchen washing plates washing all the dishes. So there you are, if that answers your question. Well, there's no one that actually picks someone and puts you plonk without, I mean, of course, if you don't have any experience on the job, you have no business being there in the first place. But if I had taken part in Pied Fire of Hamelin Towns in Brunswick, I was only 13. By a famous Hanover City, I was speaking like an English person. When I was only a Nigerian, little girl, being nurtured, by my mother, who was a seamstress, how would you ever get there? But you already have that background, that solid background on the rock, as it were. So, by the time I was ready to go on TV, I had learnt from all the other, people that I mentioned their names earlier, like Anike Agbaje Williams. And I wouldn't say it was easy, because you always have that, butterfly fluttering in front of the camera or wherever. I think I took to television like I was meant to be there, with all humility. If I had been groomed by all these nuns that I have mentioned their names, they came to Nigeria to serve the people. They were not earning salaries, To become a nun, you have to take the oath of obedience, chastity, poverty, and all that. So you're not earning a salary. But whoever is there now is thinking of how much money he's going to get from whatever take comes from here, there, and yonder. So they taught us well. And nobody said you're going to go and appear on TV or you're going to be on radio. But just do what you're meant to do properly, with a lot of sense of responsibility and diligence. And that stands at the back of your mind. That goes everywhere with you, wherever you go in life. Even when I was nursing a sick child, my late son was a sickler. And I was meant to take part in Verdict 79 with my colleagues Kerry Ahmed and Adamu Aogi. They all came with me to the hospital, which is just next door here. And then we came back and mounted the podium and continued our business as if nothing was happening. He didn't die at the time, of course, but the job must go on. That is always there at the back of your mind. So my first night, I wouldn't say that I didn't have any jitters, that I was not nervous. But I was able to deliver, and I think that was the staying power. That was what kept me going, because other people came on board. I was not the only one. All the members of the board had their own, little nephews and nieces that they wanted to project on TV. They all came and they couldn't make it. But Anike and I kept going. And if you gave me a script now, I think I would try and... We didn't have too many, what do you call it then, teleprompters. Well, I was very good at, I had a photographic memory. So I was able to get hold of the script, and in less than 60 seconds, I'll be able to deliver it straight to the camera. That was one of the assets that I had also, which was God's gift. It's not by own might or whatever you think you have. You have the talent, of course, but also there has to be some other little bits of gifts that will help you to project the image of the professional. A lot of controversy. There is hardly any TV, radio, movie personality that can scale through that without any, because people are watching, people are trying to find their own little, base of criticism here, there, and yonder. You can't be a goodie, two shoots without, any, how shall I say it, problem here, there, and yonder. So everybody has their own way of looking at people. People say, well, what has she got to do? She went to take part in Miss Western Nigeria the other day. So what's the big deal about her? And then somebody will still add their own salt and pepper here and there. But I was lucky that I was being nurtured by someone like T.O.S. Benson, who was then our Minister for Information. And he felt that, everything should not stop here. There were things happening in America. He made sure that my name was there. I was at the inauguration of President Lyndon Johnson. And we commanded a lot of attention there, myself and my colleague who came from Lagos, the station in Lagos. And for the president to notice that there were 2 black people sitting behind him at his inaugural ball, I think it was very overwhelming for me because not many black people had invitation to that event. But Charity Adadevo and I were there, and he stood up and shook our hands where we were sitting behind, 3 rows behind the president. Then Kennedy had died, and we were still nursing, we were still feeling very hot about, the loss of Kennedy. And here was the new president coming up. We were not particularly keen on being